Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This is part 1 of What If Hinata was a Yandere for Naruto. If you guys enjoy this what if, then comment, like and subscribe. Let's go. Also the video goal is 10 likes, so let me know that you're interested in the series and you want the next part. Then go ahead and check out the other what ifs in the channel. Before we start, please do support for more awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe and leave. Also share the video with your friends and link in the description. So let's go. Hinata Hyuga Compound. It's clear to me now that you're never going to live up to the title of heiress. Hiashi scoffs. Morning light burns on her neck at soft snickers that follow, and she wishes once more this could have waited until the afternoon where there would be less eyes on her. Father would never give her such a luxury though. Shame like this needs to be put out in the open. A lesson for both main and branch members to not be like her. Hinata withers quietly, drops her gaze to the wood floor. The weight of his stare and the elders makes her toes curl as if she stepped on glass, stomach sinking in further. Hiashi raises a hand, and the room falls to a hush. I will give you one last chance to prove yourself, Hinata. Not just as a Hyuga, but as an up-and-coming kunoichi. Fight Hanabi here and now with the full force of your prowess. Hinata's eyes lift as Hanabi comes into view, pearl eyes as hard as father's. But for a fraction of a second, her expression cracks, nervous as her on what she'll do. Have to do if she wants to continue on as heiress. Hinata blows out a breath as they walk to the center of the meditation hall, overhears Lady Hinaki as she passes her. Why'd put her through this torture? It's not like Hinata has shown any improvement since starting at the academy. Lady Haruka snickers into her sleeve. The only reason she goes to the academy is to watch that demon child. She thinks Master Hiashi doesn't see it or care enough to bring it up. Once she loses again today, he'll probably pull her from the academy to do her studies alone here. It's improper no matter how weak she is to show such care for the village's Jinchuriki. Hinata doesn't look their way, but her heartbeat rises to a sharp thrum, cheeks flushing. She raises her head, never attending class with Naruto again, losing the chance to be on a team with him. Something in her breaks, tumbles her into darkness. The questions roll over each other in her mind until she forces her thoughts to calm as one single thing becomes clear. No, I can't let that happen, I won't. And when her gaze pinpoints on Hanabi once more with new ice in her eyes, she knows it too. This time she will fight her seriously. They both get into position, waiting. Hiashi raises a hand between them, eyes Hanabi as her posture slackens before she hurriedly straightens up. Begin. Hinata moves forward as soon as the words leave his lips, twists under Hanabi's coming jab for her right arm. I'm sorry. She whispers in Hanabi's ear before her palm slams hard into her chest, pierces her stomach, next knocking the breath out of her. Hanabi's vision instantly darkens, topples. Hinata catches her, lays her gently against the hardwood before staring back to her father and the elders. Surprise and puzzlement mar Hiyashi's features before he masks them once again, nods. Hinata looks past him and grandfather to Lady Haruka and Hinaki. Lady Haruka. Lady Hinaki. Would either if you care for a light sparring match right now? The pair stiffen as eyes twist to them curiously, neither having been in a proper spar in months. And Hinata smiles patiently, gestures with her head for one of them to get up from their tatami mat and face her. Hinaki clears her throat, face hot at her challenge. I didn't know Lady Hinata could be so brazen. When neither move, Hinata steps forward to them, eyes narrowing. It seems you both have nothing to say and are too cowardly to face me. I suggest you keep your opinions about me and who I choose to spend time with to yourself moving forward. Hinata twists on her heel before either can answer, moves for the front entrance. Her whole body burns, heading for the one place where he should be at. Naruto. I want to see you. Naruto and Haruka. Naruto and Hinata Konoha alleyways Ichiraku's. When are you going to stop wasting everyone's time with these pranks and graffiti? Haruka's voice rings in Naruto's ears akin to a fly, berates him until he's practically red in the face. He's been at this for nearly an hour, studying him like a hawk. Naruto huffs, turns his head from his yelling only for Haruka to pinch his ear, force him to look back at him. Don't turn away. You're going to clean up all this spray paint and then apologize to Mrs. Watanabe for dumping paint all over flowers. You'll pay her back too with the ryo you make out of your first missions. Naruto's scowl deepens even further, picturing the old woman's gloating smirk if he's forced to even say it. Sorry, he won't even mean. What? But she deserved that for saying I'm a. He stops himself at Iruka's frustrated look, not caring about his excuses, sees in his eyes the same annoyance and disgust he saw in Watanabe and so many of Konoha's citizens. A burden, someone to be ignored when not chastised. He clamps his lips shut, glances back to the mix of yellows, greens, and blues he's splattered against the fences and sidewalks. Fine, whatever. Just give me the soap and water already. Naruto grunts. This is going to at least take him an hour, maybe two. Iruka slides the bucket over, still hovering. And heads straight home after this. No lingering about the marketplace. He orders. Naruto looks up at him then. Alright, I get it. Are you done now? Iruka crosses his arms. Honestly, I don't know why you have to cause all this trouble on a near daily basis, Naruto. I'm sure you'd rather be at home relaxing or catching up on your studies than doing this. Well, it's not like I have anyone at home waiting on me. Naruto sighs. Better to be out here than in the quiet of his apartment. A new voice yells out from above, startling them both. Don't worry, boss. I'll be a distraction to old man Iruka. Konohamaru calls out. Be careful, Konohamaru, you're gonna fall out the window. Moegi circles her arms around his stomach. Iruka glances up to the upper towers, rubs at his forehead. Where is Ibiki? His eyes roam back to Naruto to ensure he's still properly scrubbing away. Finish up here, I'll be back to check on you in a few minutes. Naruto observes as Iruka hops over to the trio, Konohamaru about to launch a new series of paint bombs from the upper towers with Moegi and Udon keeping him from moving too far out. A new shadow falls over him a minute later and he sighs. I don't need one of your clones keeping watch over me now too. Naruto gripes. He turns to see opalescent eyes instead, flutter of violet hair. He winces instantly, he's seen this girl somewhere before. The academy. Around the markets. She normally can't stand to look at him though, weirdly always flusters and peers downward or at anything else. But now she's approached him, crouches taking in the splatter marks of his earlier paint sprays. I thought you were going to be at Ichiraku's, though at least it was easy to find you following Iruka's shouting. Hinata smiles. Naruto blinks, glances around to see if someone else is pranking him, angry enough to drag this girl into this. You were looking for me, Naruto clarifies. Of course he wouldn't remember who I am. Her mood dampens. She isn't loud, passionately expressive with her feelings like Sakura and Ino, boys in the other classes gravitating towards them too. The elder's words flash to mind, balling her fists at her sides. I can't lose him. Hinata nods, grin widening. I'm Hinata Hyuga. Sorry, I should have introduced myself first. Naruto shakes his head, still utterly puzzled by this conversation. So, did you need something? I kind of gotta get back to cleaning this gunk up if I want to get home before midnight, you know. Hinata grabs at a second washrag in response, moves back to a standing position to help scrub at the darker spots. That's why I came by, silly. I'm going to help you clean up all this and then we can get a late lunch, early dinner at Ichiraku's. Naruto's eyes tinge darker, blue swirling with suspicion and joy. He watches Hinata work for a long minute. This can't be a prank considering she's now easing the burden on taking care of the fence and stones to the west. Why ya doing this? Naruto continues his questioning. Nobody does nice things for him without a caveat of some sort. Hinata squeezes at his free hand in return, Naruto staring at their joined hands, warmth spreading over him at her grin. He's been yelled at and ignored more than usual as of late by both shopkeepers, civilians, and even shinobi like Iruka-sensei. Hinata the first to make him feel not so invisible in a while. Lilac eyes gaze fully into azure, so he clearly knows who she will be to him now. And forever. Because I'm your girlfriend now. The lunch rush hasn't fully died out yet by the time they get to Ichiraku's, but Naruto bounces eagerly on his toes as soon as the scent of spices and broths hit his nose. Chuki waves him over with a grin, chuckles looking at dried paint clinging to his orange jacket and pants. I see you were up to your usual mayhem this afternoon, huh? That must mean you've worked up quite the appetite. Hinata bows in greeting, fights against the urge to fidget as other patrons take in her clan's trademark eyes. This will be evening and night gossip for sure, whispers around dinner tables and Konoha's red light district clubs of why Hiyashi's eldest daughter is spending time around Konoha's Jinchuriki. Ayame giggles, gestures with her hand for her to step forward too. You brought along a friend. Don't worry, Naruto is a regular here if you can't fully pay the amount of Ryo needed to fill his stomach. Hinata shakes her head as she joins the stool beside Naruto. She's hungry too and there's no need for Hyuga formalities here. A grunt to her right makes her half turn, a man at least twice their age observing them through the edge of his sake cup. Pink splashes at his cheeks, Hinata noting the stack of cups by his plate. He snorts, loud enough for her to hear above the canopy of noise, lips dropping into a grimace. Don't know why Kyuki keeps providing meals to that brat. He's going to drain through his savings and lose hard-earned Ryo with customers going elsewhere. His company shushes him nervously. Keep it down Yasuo or you'll get us both kicked out. Naruto feigns not hearing them, nudges her side regaining her attention. What would you like Hinata? Well, it can be my treat to celebrate us being friends. He asks hesitantly, still not sure if he heard her right earlier. Gamashin will be fine if he spends a bit more today. Hinata brightens. Oh, I don't mind any type of ramen. I'll start with the spicy beef ramen and then a tonkatsu ramen. Ayame writes down their choices with a nod, heads off to get the orders of a family at one of the booths. Naruto points to the pictures of the bowl sizes. Wait, 2. Can you eat all of that? Hinata giggles. If anything, Naruto, I can eat more than you. He leans his head against his palm, grinning. Huh, now that I'd like to see. Hinata hops from her seat, brushes at paint chips along her jacket and pants. I'm going to try and get some of this paint and grime off in the bathroom while they get our orders started. Naruto points in the direction, though she already scoped out where it would be once they entered. Once Yasuo started his disparaging comments. Yasuo continues his scowling in Naruto's direction, Hinata taking the long way to the restrooms. To the pest supplies in the back. The strongest poisons Kyuki uses to keep out roaches and rats from the kitchen comes in a bright red box, hazard letters in bold black font. Warning: do not drink. Call Konoha's poison control or hospital if you or a dog, cat ingest and start to experience symptoms of blurred vision, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, or bleeding of gums. Hinata reads along. She pours out enough to fill the sake cup she took while Ayame was busy with multiple orders. In the bathroom, she splashes a bit of water to her pants, passes Yasuo's table on the way back. His partner is too engrossed in some scroll, Yasuo too focused on his glaring, observing to see if other customers are just as uncomfortable with Naruto's presence here as him. Sweat nearly makes her palms shake, hurriedly switching his cups out while he's looking away, placing the old cup on a busboy's cart as he heads in their direction. Damn it, why'd he have to come in and spoil my lunch and good mood? Yasuo downs back his latest sake up before his lips pucker in disgust. That burned going down, not like the others. Shit, what's in this plum sake Takashi? That last one didn't taste right. Takashi shrugs, he only had 2 shots compared to the dozens littered around him. Maybe it's a sign to call it quits for now. There will be other missions with larger payouts. Yasuo shakes his head only for it to throb at the movement, clutching at his side as his stomach gurgles. It's that Nine-Tails boy companion, that Hyuga girl that watches him as a cold sweat breaks out across his skin, Takashi's voice turning to muffles and static. He grabs a glass of water, looks away taking in a few gulps. Minutes pass, his stomachache hardly changes. Is getting worse. Hinata gives a little wave in return when he peers back their way, sneer darker than his own. His eyes shift wildly between his sake cups and her. No, he and Takashi have been sitting here this whole time. A second wave of pain stings at his stomach and chest, taste of blood rising on the back of his tongue. Genjutsu. Or maybe I really did just have too many drinks. Leave. Hinata mouths, Yasuo slapping his Ryo down a moment later. This Hyuga girl can't do anything to him, but her eyes follow him all the way out the door, Genjutsu not breaking. And his gut churns, becomes a ball of fire he can no longer control as he curls down for the ground. Shame mixes with his heated skin. To anybody walking by he looks like some common drunkard, a shinobi unfit for assignments. Naruto's nose wrinkles as the man's teammate hurriedly gets him away before everything comes back up on his clothes. That guy must have eaten too much. Old man Kyuki's food is just that good, you know. Hinata nods as Ayame places their bowls down, bumps their shoulders affectionately. Let's eat. The sun is low in the sky by the time they finish, sky stained in ambers and reds. Shops are closing up for the day, businessmen and shinobi either heading for home or to the nightclubs in the red light district. As the streetlights flicker on, Naruto's shoulders slump, wavers. This is the time of day where everyone departs with their parents or loved ones back to their homes. I guess you need to get heading back to that big old compound, right? Hinata studies the coming dark, purses her lips. She's already startled father, Ko, and the other elders today with her shift in attitude and behavior. How angry will they be at me coming home late? The moon hasn't risen fully yet, there's still time to enjoy herself. Hinata sidles up beside Naruto, nods for him to lead the way to his place. I don't need to go back just yet, let's hang out a bit more. Naruto and Hinata, Hiyashi and Hinata Naruto's apartment, Hyuga compound. I didn't prepare for guests. Naruto internally bemoans. He'd pictured that maybe someday he'd invite Sakura here, his future teammates and sensei. It would prove to his neighbors, old man third, and the guards he occasionally has come by that he can be neat, have friends over that aren't just people assuring he isn't planning another prank or trying to leave the village. He side-eyes Hinata to see if there's any telltale signs of disgust at seeing all this clutter, amusement in her eyes instead as she takes off her shoes and steps over a pile of ramen cups to head in. It's honestly not as bad as I pictured from the horror stories I've heard. Of course, when we're living together, you can't make messes like this. Hinata regards, studying dirty clothes and more trash strewn about. Naruto blinks as she casually moves about picking up plates and utensils scattered about the floor, trails after her to the kitchen. Living together. He parrots back. Hinata giggles at the trace of pink to his face, sets about getting soapy water forming at his sink. Yes, when we're older though silly. Come help me with these dishes, you can't leave them lying about or else it's harder to get the food residue off. Naruto reluctantly does as she says, working in tandem to dry while she scrubs. I thought we were going to chat and watch TV, not do chores you know. He covers his grimace though as the kitchen and living room floors slowly become visible again, faint scent of lemon and lavender used to swipe at dust along his furniture and cabinets. Hinata points to his orchids. You like gardening too, huh? We'll set aside maybe a flower and vegetable garden in our backyard one day. Naruto grins eagerly, is actually starting to picture this house at her descriptions of wisteria, lilies, and marigolds dancing in spring breezes. He hates basically every vegetable Kyuki and Ayame have ever tried to sneak into a meal for him, but maybe Hinata can show him new recipes for them or… Wait, why am I imagining all of this? Hinata is just being nice, this must be an elaborate prank. Why would she like him knowing this beast stirs within him? The petty crimes he's done just for bits of attention. And I almost really fell for it. His thoughts darken. For now, I need to study more Hyuga clan techniques and learn from a good sensei techniques that I can blend on top of those skills. We're going to find out before the week is over which genin squad we're on. Hinata prattles on. Naruto stacks at another plate, brows furrowing. He steps back from her, gaze faltering. The plate in his hand cracks from his pressure, Hinata turning just as it slips out of his hold. It explodes in a flash of white, pieces scattering across the floor. Hinata jolts in alarm, wipes her hands against her jacket. What happened? It was too slippery. Naruto doesn't answer, thin rivulets of red forming along his hands and fingers. You can stop it now. Who set you up to this? Kiba, Ino, Amy. He growls. Hinata frowns, her puzzlement only stewing his annoyance. Oh come on, this prank can't be that funny. Pretending to be my friend for an afternoon just to ignore me again tomorrow. Her gaze softens then, carefully sidesteps jagged slabs of glass. Only when she's a breath away does he startle back some. You think I spent all day with you as a ruse? To mess with you for fun? She peppers him quietly. Naruto clenches his teeth in preparation for the truth, nods slowly. Hinata brushes her fingers along his cheek, closes the gap. Ouch. Her face burns at their heads knocking. She pictured this 100 times and still did it wrong when it came to the real thing. But Naruto doesn't move away, lips tasting of the miso ramen they enjoyed earlier. He pulls back first, whole face red probably matching her own. Hinata squirms, steps back. That proves I wasn't lying, right? Naruto nods dazedly. Hinata beams, grabs at his hand to examine his cuts only to see they're already healing up. There's so much about Naruto I'm excited to learn about. That was your first kiss? She abruptly asks, peering up at him closely. Naruto huffs, looks down from her scrutinizing stare. Yeah, I mean, usually girls avoid me, you know. Hinata bumps their heads lightly this time. Good, it was mine too. And soon everyone will know that we're exclusive. Naruto scratches at his cheek, so this isn't some type of gag or dream. He needs to tell old man Kyuki and Ayame properly. Hell, even old man Third should hear this news. What do you mean everyone will know? He mentions as he crouches to pick up glass with her. Hinata hums. At the academy tomorrow and future missions, you'll see. Fireflies guide her path on the way home. Green and yellow glows her only source of light with moonlight at her back layered by clouds. Hiyashi sits at the last of the patio's steps, anger betraying his usual stoicism. Where have you been? Why have I received multiple reports you were with the Jinchuriki? Your hands are bloody, why? Hinata moves to walk past him, Hiyashi grabbing at her arm. Hinata attempts to slip from his hold, matches the iciness in his eyes and tone with her own. I don't care what happens to her once she's on a three-man squad. She'll be under the care of her sensei. Maybe he or she will make her not be so weak. Hinata recites. Hiyashi studies her, grip slackening enough for her to move back. Hinata thinly smiles. What's wrong, father? Did you forget this very conversation you had with the elders last week deciding my fate at a whim? Surely your memory hasn't gotten so bad in such a short amount of time. You know it's unbecoming to spend time around the Jinchuriki unless necessary for mission purposes. Hiyashi scowls. Hinata's features mist over, interest gone in a flicker. One day I'll bring Naruto here and you won't be able to stop me. Hiyashi's lips flatten. She normally can't look him in the eye, and it clicks in fully then. He's finally broken that warmth inside of her that always reminded him too much of her mother, pieces that Hinata now refuses to pick back up. Hiyashi clears his throat. You proved today that some coldness does exist in you. You can carry on with your heiress duties in addition to starting your shinobi career. Hinata stares at him for a moment, snicker escaping before she can stop it. I don't care what you think anymore, father. Hiyashi pauses, rubs at his forehead. And it's in his silence he notes her nails digging into her trembling palms, thin rim of tears. He grabs at her left hand. You really don't. Her shaking calms, venom reignited. She snatches her hand back as if he's fire. What I do from now on is no longer any of your business, father. Just like you wanted. And to prove it, she strikes at his arm as she passes him for his room. He winces as pain shoots up his arm like a sting. Attacked while he was unguarded, a rule he taught her. Naruto and Hinata Academy. Move, I'm getting the seat beside Sasuke forehead. He won't be able to see the board if you sit there. Ino snaps. Sakura shoves her back, like he wants to sit next to a pig either. Sasuke still as popular as ever without even having to speak. Naruto considers, leans his head against his palm to stifle a yawn. He ended up staying up past midnight to follow Hinata's directions on how to properly fold his clothes, separate trash from what can go in the bin and what can be recycled. Morning Naruto. He peers up at Hinata's nervous grin, memories of last night spilling out between them. She nods to the open seat on his right, Naruto scooting by to let her in. Yesterday wasn't some hazy dream born out of his loneliness, beaming. Morning. Just in time to hear which teams we're going to be on. Her stomach flutters, today's the day. With testing over mastery of the clone jutsu done in each class, Haruka-sensei will finally announce every new three-man team for this year. She'll finally get to officially go on assignments together with Naruto, share bentos, get stronger. Haruka shouts for calm as he enters, excited chatter falling to a hush. Alright, everyone settle down. Today we'll be officially announcing your three-man teams and assigned Jonin-sensei. Hinata sits forward expectantly as Team 10's names get called. Team 7 will consist of Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and Naruto Uzumaki with Kakashi Hatake as squad leader. Sakura goes from cheering to groaning, Sasuke features remain impassive. Naruto says nothing, looks over to Hinata as her hands curl. It's fine, doesn't mean we won't get joint assignments, you know. He whispers. He pats at her hand beneath the table, Hinata forcing a light smile. But still her heart sinks, almost doesn't hear her own name called. Team 8 will consist of Kiba Inuzuka, Shino Aburame, and Hinata Hyuga with Kurenai Yuhi as squad leader. Her pencil snaps in her hands, lead staining her palms, upset morphing to rage. I don't understand. Who decided this? Haruka rattles off more names, Hinata taking in the folder of papers next to him, sighs. It must be some type of mistake. One she'll just have to fix. She chuckles again. Because sane plans never work, girl, she says. Only the mad ones do. Sabata here, a torch against the night. Hinata and Haruka Academy faculty offices. Time is of the essence. Lucky for her, Kakashi-sensei is known to come late. She has a few minutes to state her case with Haruka-sensei before their teams most likely become permanent. Kiba scoffs, getting her attention, crosses his arms studying her and Shino up and down. Geez, you two better not slow Akamaru and I down. We could be a one-man team if that was allowed. Akamaru barks his agreement, Shino pushing his glasses up. Would you please shut up? Nobody is going to slow you down. When academically and skills-wise, both Hinata and I rank higher than you respectively. He remarks. It's the most words either have heard him say in class. Hinata rising from her seat seeing Kiba about to growl out a retort, nails poised to attack him. His dark eyes shift to her, brows furrowing. And where are you scurrying off to? Restrooms. I'll be right back. Hinata states over her shoulder. And hopefully on a new team. Haruka is thankfully alone when she pokes her head into his office, tampers her mood with a light smile as she approaches his desk. It's littered with various old exams, reminders for upcoming meetings, and essays that still need to be reviewed. Haruka-sensei, do you have a moment? Hinata calls out, taps on his door. Haruka jolts, irritation in his eyes calming when he sees her. He waves her in. Oh, Hinata. Sorry, I thought you were Amy, Kumiko, or another girl asking to switch with Sakura Haruno just to be close to Sasuke. Her heart lurches. It doesn't need to be Sakura necessarily. I don't care if Sasuke has to be moved to another team. Because then at least she wouldn't be reminded of father or Neji in a potential teammate. Just as long as she can be with Naruto. She's never seen Sasuke talk or eat lunch with anyone in their class or the others anyways. He'd probably be happy to fly solo if that opportunity was truly allowed like Kiba mentioned. Forgive me, I'm rambling. How can I help you? Sorry for the mess, last-minute grades need to be put in before this Friday at noon per Lord 3rd. Haruka proclaims. Hinata shifts with her hands. I rather as well outright ask. Forgive me, I wanted to ask, was there a mistake not in Sakura's placement, but mine? Haruka cocks his head, reaches for the team assignments that Lord 3rd reviewed and finalized last Wednesday. No, I don't believe so. Team 8 was created in mind for espionage, tracking, and search-rescue missions. You each come from clans that are specialized in said categories of shinobi operations. Hinata grabs at a pen off his desk, jabs it straight between his thumb and index finger before he can fully set the papers back down. No, can you please look again? I'm supposed to be with Naruto. She asserts. Haruka retracts back his hand with a curse, draws up his hand with the other. Water release, aqua torpedo. Hinata crouches beneath his desk before she can take a direct hit, looks down to see a web of black at her feet. Barrier ninjutsu, she notes. Haruka walks around his desk, expression steely as he crouches to her. Who are you? Why have you disguised yourself as one of my students? Hinata's lips turn downward as he puts a kunai to her neck. Sensei, it's me. You assume like my classmates that I would forever be a wallflower. You remember that time you made us do a pop quiz when nobody could remember the exact year the Warring States period ended? Or when you said to Kos since father refused to come after midterms my grades and performance made you worry if I could handle myself on a team? Haruka fully looks at her then, swallows. What's gotten into Hinata? A fury he's never seen in her simmers, heat pouring into the room in waves. Her clan must have drudged up this malice, this piercing gaze akin to a hunter. He undoes the barrier, both getting back to standing positions. I can't change the team assignments now, Hinata. Lord 3rd personally reviewed each one and based it off of each student's assessments of academic and field knowledge. You'd need to take it up with him to challenge the squad assignments with a good reason besides just a crush. Haruka emphasizes. Hinata stares at him for a painfully long minute or two, swishes her hand out, toppling paper towers into a sea of white on the ground. Fine. I'll figure out another way, hopefully. They both know Lord Third isn't going to listen to her, her only hope is their respective Jonin-sensei now. Iruka watches her go before glancing to his wound, ink smeared against spots of blood. She's just having a bad day. He decides. Crimson drops splash against the teacher's paperwork, groaning aloud as he reaches for a band-aid within his drawer. Stern warnings, reprimands wouldn't have been enough, he realizes. Unlike Sasuke's fangirls, Hinata isn't going to let this go. Kurenai shoots her a concerned look at her partially wet jacket upon her return to the classroom, Hinata shrugging away her fretting. The sink shot out water when I was washing my hands, maybe a loose screw somewhere in the pipes. Hinata guesses. Kurenai takes in her reddened cheeks at the dozens of stares on her from the remaining students, fiddling with her hands. Out of breath too apparently from running back here. She pats at her shoulders. I'm glad to finally meet you three. Come on, I want to get some introductions out of the way before we break for lunch. Shino and Kiba give follow, Kurenai's stare lingering on Hinata as they trek outside. History of verbal abuse and neglect in her family, heiress title at risk. She recalls from her file. Hinata stiffens as their eyes meet again. Please don't worry about me, sensei, I'm fine. She manages out softly while placing Iruka's blood-stained pen into her back pocket. Out of everyone's view. Team 7 training grounds entrance. Why does he keep looking around? Kakashi wonders. Above, clouds pass over them idly through a sea of blue, the coming heat of the afternoon starting to make the trio squirm more. While he already had an idea of Naruto's goals, he instantly went quiet as soon as he declared he planned to be Hokage one day. Strange. Naruto's gaze continues to wander back to the academy, slight tap at his shoes. Getting impatient. Kakashi hums thoughtfully, school hasn't exactly ever been one of Naruto's top priorities. He waves up a hand in the air. Alright, we can break for lunch now. I want to meet you all bright and early at training ground 3 at 6 AM tomorrow. Kakashi declares. Sakura bristles in surprise. That's so early. May we ask why? Kakashi simply smiles. That's a secret for now. But I will say this, skip on breakfast with what I have planned for you all. Sakura huffs as he puffs away in a cloud of smoke, turns her attention to Sasuke eagerly. She wraps an arm around him, grins at his startled look. Our first lunch date. I gotta land this right and win his heart via his stomach chaw. Would you like to get lunch together, Sasuke? I packed extras with tomatoes. She chimes out giddily. Sasuke considers it for a moment before shaking his head, loosely letting her go. He stands stuffing his hands into his pockets, needs to review what's in his fridge if he needs to do a grocery run later. He is hungry, but Sakura doesn't need to know that when he needs time to think alone. No thank you. Perhaps Naruto would be interested. Sakura deflates as he heads away, he rather as well have told her to eat by herself or with Amy and her posse. What? Anyone but him. Why would Sasuke even suggest that? She turns towards Naruto to see if he's trying to give follow to bug her to eat together only to see he's left already too, orange jacket in view heading for the academy. Where on earth is he going? Sakura mutters. Her shoulders drop, not even Naruto of all people wants to eat with her either. Sakura studies her bento, heads for the closest tree. So much for at least getting to know my teammates and sensei some. Kakashi-sensei is just as mysterious as ever and came over an hour late to retrieve them. Sasuke is still so far out of reach despite being on the same team now, and Naruto. Well, she'll learn to tolerate him eventually. Hopefully. She bites into her onigiri absently, looks up to the second floor feeling goosebumps rush across her arms. I'm being watched. Her eyes trail up slowly, clenches her teeth seeing Ino's bemused grin leaning against the railing. Forehead. Where are your teammates? Did they abandon you already? She snickers. I ought to throw a kunai straight into that stupid smirk of hers. Sakura growls. Cobalt eyes roam the empty benches and trees beside Sakura, glitter with mirth seeing neither Sasuke or Naruto are nearby. Geez, not even Naruto stuck around, huh? Ino chortles. Sakura winds her hands at her side feeling her face burn, lie bubbling up before she can help it as Choji and Shikamaru share pitying looks. No, I told Naruto to just buy me some mochi from the cafeteria is all. He back shortly. She shouts back defiantly. Like those two would ever do the same for you cha. A figure behind Team 10 stops, glances over to Sakura. Sakura squints, takes in a flicker of violet hair as she comes into view. Hinata. Ino follows Sakura's gaze to Hinata, smiles in surprise. Hey Hinata, how are you liking your team? I guess I shouldn't complain too much about these two when you're stuck with boys who reek of dogs and bugs. Ino chuckles. Shikamaru grunts. We can hear you. Not like we wanted to be assigned with you either. Hinata smiles thinly in return with a shrug, glances down to Sakura curiously. I don't think Kiba and Shino will be so bad after a few missions together building our teamwork. We've been specially created for reconnaissance operations it seems. It's how other teams are going to fare that might be of concern. Her stare lingers on Sakura before bowing and carrying on down the hallway. Shikamaru gazes away towards the clouds. He can't be the only one who picked up on Hinata's frostier tone. Not going to get involved anywhere near that. Choji pauses mid-bite on a chip. She didn't sound all that happy about her team really. Ino purses her lips. She's never seen Sakura and Hinata interact outside basic group projects. Iruka-sensei had them on for field exercise practice or one-on-one spars where Hinata usually never did a finishing blow. Sakura, what did you do to make her mad of all people? Ino communicates silently. Sakura just shakes her head, packs up her bento, appetite gone. Now she knows the cause behind her earlier goosebumps. Naruto and Hinata Academy grounds, back area. Ah, so this where you were. Naruto states in greeting, plops down into the damp grass beside her. The back is the more neglected side of the academy where the grasses and weeds rise up to their ankles, sunburnt shades of yellows and browns. Maintenance crews typically get away with doing less care here when it comes to the rest of the school. The pristine front parts are what parents and visitors to Konoha are going to see if their child ever shows interest in going here. Hinata slides a bento box over, taps her chopsticks against her lips. What do you mean? I've been here this whole time. She teases. Naruto scoffs at that, points to a thin layer of cuts along her hand. You tried to talk to Iruka-sensei, didn't you? I assume you weren't able to change his mind. Hinata sighs, draws out the blood-stained pen, tosses it down to bury into the depths of the dirt and grass later. He's more stubborn than I thought he would be. No matter though, I think there's other ways our teams can get close. Naruto leans his head against his palm, munches absently at his rice, tamagoyaki, and fish. You don't have to try so hard on account of me though you know. He mentions between bites. Hinata shakes her head. I want us to get stronger together so that then. She trails off and Naruto glances to her again to see that she's studying the forests. Then, Naruto repeats. So that then I can challenge my father on the duties of the branch and main families. I admittedly don't really like or want to be a shinobi. It's expected though when you come from a clan that's always used their techniques for battle, espionage, and war. However, I want to look into what else I can use the Byakugan for to help others that doesn't result in death, spilling blood. Hinata explains. Unless necessary. Naruto brightens. He paid little attention to the lessons Iruka-sensei gave them on the founding clans of Konoha, but he knows that the secret techniques and policies of each one have gone on for generations. The Hyuga being one of the stricter ones. Hinata lightly leans her head against his shoulder. It's not going to be easy. My cousin, Neji, will be the first obstacle I'll have to deal with. I don't know why uncle bothers with you when you've shown such little progress. Neji sneers behind her back. She failed to even land a proper hit on him this morning. And yet she's gone ahead and taken the graduation exam to officially become a part of a genin team. Her passing wasn't met with celebrations or cheers like she overheard from her classmates' families, just the silent expectations she not let whoever are her future team members down. The koi pond's waters ripple as Neji drops a pebble in, reflections becoming distorted amid the blue-green shades. Hinata bites her lip as his footsteps draw closer, half turns. Neji, please. I'm not trying to cause you any trouble. White eyes turn stormy. Vicious. My trouble is that you are weak. An embarrassment to our clan's reputation in Konoha. He notes casually. Hinata falters, crumpling. And Neji drills in. What? Not going to even defend yourself? If you're going to actually one day lead the clan, you have to do more than just stutter or look away. He's a year ahead of us, right? Naruto mumbles, bringing Hinata back to focus on the here and now. He can't recall if he's ever heard his name called out during attendance when he wasn't dozing. Hinata nods, fingers tugging at blades of grass. Ever since Uncle's passing, Neji's regarded me in particular and any main clan member icily. Things can't go on this way forever. I'll have to force him to listen somehow. Even if it means activating the curse seal or worse. She decides. Naruto pats at her shoulders. Hey, we're friends now, so you don't have to face him alone. Hinata giggles gently. Thank you, Naruto. Kurenai and Hinata Hyuga compound. I don't think father is going to care. Hinata mentions gently. She saved Kurenai's visit to the compound to be last, no longer able to avoid it now. Humidity fans across them, air smelling of coming rain again like so often during the late summer seasons of Konoha. It matches well with her sullen mood taking in bundles of dark gray clouds on the horizon. The first wave of downpours in the morning have swollen the streets with puddles, Kurenai crisscrossing around mud and coming raindrops. She smooths out her dark locks at Hinata's flat tone, stiff posture. I'm not worried and neither should you be. Kurenai promises. Things had gone relatively well with Hana and Sume Inuzuka despite some reservations on her recent promotion to being a Jonin. Now don't let my son push you around just because you're a newbie Jonin. No holding back when it comes to dealing with him if he ever acts out of line. I give you permission as his mom to give him a slugging or two, however you see fit. And if that doesn't work, Hana and I will put him in his place. Sume bellows while Kiba snorts and looks away, focus half on Akamaru as he plays with the Heimaru trio and half on trying to keep up with this conversation. Sume forces his head into a bow. You heard me boy, you make sure you treat not just Kurenai here, but all your elders with respect. Kiba roughly pushes against her, pair each eliciting a growl. I'm being way more respectful than you right now. This is why old man ran off cause you're always so bossy and loud. What was that boy? Who says I need a man to tell me how to act? Hana offers her some tea while they bicker, Kurenai nodding her thanks. She settles beside her on the couch, readjusts her ponytail as Kurenai picks up the faint whiffs of mint and disinfectant on her. She must have just finished a shift at the hospital. Kurenai realizes. I think. Kiba's finally going to mature some now that he's on a proper team. Hey, maybe he'll do some proper grooming and not just immediately jump out of bed every morning like he currently does with us. Please watch over him, any major injuries I'll do my best to heal as well. Kurenai smiles, sips at her green tea. Of course. Her eyes trail back to mother and son, grin widening. I see where he gets his personality from. Shibi was the total opposite, offered her tea and senbei crackers that her stomach knotted on taking at seeing beetles and insects with at least a dozen black furry legs crawling near the plates. I know Shino won't give you any problems. In fact, I look forward to hearing how he'll progress as a shinobi under your tutelage, especially in genjutsu. Please let me know if I can be of any assistance or if you need any advice on how our clan's techniques are used in the battlefield. Our Kikaichu beetles aren't just used for tracking shinobi down. Kurenai smiles warmly. Everything Asuma said about how odd Shibi is was an exaggeration. Sort of. Shino takes her untouched plate away, shakes his head at his dad. Father, you didn't really expect Kurenai-sensei to eat from this plate, did you? Why? Because it's covered in beetles. These ones aren't even a week old yet and are still getting acclimated to being outside of us and their nests. Shibi watches as he heads for the kitchen, rubs his chin thoughtfully at his error. Oh, my apologies Kurenai. We don't often get guests, and it seems I've lost some of my etiquette skills. He bows. Kurenai waves up her hands. No, it's no problem at all, thank you for letting me speak with you. She imagines Hiyashi Hyuga will be harsher than Sume and just as quiet as Shibi. The gates of the Hyuga manor come into view, Hinata sighing as she takes the lead. She bows in greeting to Hiroto and Hideki at her return, doors sliding open. Master Hiyashi is waiting for you both at his private quarters. Hinata mouths out a thank you, gestures for Kurenai to follow her. Mahogany flooring has been recently polished by one of the many attendants milling about, rich tapestry depicting the nearby mountains and rivers hang up in every room they cross. Hiyashi says nothing at their approach, arms crossed. Hinata bows. Father, this is Kurenai-sensei. She's my assigned Jonin instructor for Team 8. Kurenai bends down into a respective crouch. Yes, it's as Hinata says. I will formally look out for Hinata's growth as a kunoichi if you have no objections to this. Hiyashi's gaze skirts back to Hinata, Hinata's own narrowing in return. Father and daughter watch each other, Hinata tilting her head just slightly. A haze drifts over the white of Hinata's eyes, stepping forward to brush her fingers at his shoulder. Her nails form crescents in his skin, Hiyashi sliding back just slightly. Did you forget how to move your mouth, father? Should I call for Dr. Hidenori to check your tongue? Kurenai stiffens at Hinata's abrupt change in tone, volatility choking her briefly of words. Their relationship has always been strained, but never outright rude like what she's witnessing before her now. Is there cause for concern? That's what you would be asking me, some variation of right about now. Hinata pursues tightly. Hiyashi clears his throat. No, I'm fine. Perhaps Kurenai can continue to bring out this renewed strength of yours instead of just in sporadic bursts. Hinata hums at that, leans close to his ear. One day, I'll formally challenge you to a match. A match that will change the fates of not just me, but the Branch family as well. I will bring along you know who is my honored guest, and there will be nothing you can do about it. Hinata pats at his arm, smile returning as she turns away back to Kurenai. I'm ready now, sensei. They walk in tandem back towards the academy where they'll discuss their first real assignment as a team tomorrow. Hinata's cheeks warm, fiddle with her hands as the building comes into view. Kurenai sensei, I'd like to make a formal request if we could do a joint training test with Team 7. They're supposed to be meeting at Training Ground 3 early in the morning. Hinata inquires. Kurenai purses her lips. Kakashi is known for failing his previous teams. She's unsure how his latest batch are going to go. I'm not so sure that's the best idea, Hinata. I had my own personal plan I wanted to do, specifically catered to Team 8's capabilities from what I reviewed of each of your files. Hinata stops in place, then sighs. And Kurenai watches as she digs something out from her pocket. A photo of her and Asuma locked in a deep kiss, his fingers reaching beneath her top. Her face burns in shock, reaching for the photo only for Hinata to draw it back, lips flattening. I have more copies I don't want to post around the village unless need be. Asuma-sensei didn't hide these well enough from privy eyes, nor did that cameraman truly delete all the extras he had from his roll. Kurenai swallows, heart becoming a gallop. They've always been so careful, toes curling. It shouldn't really come as a surprise that paparazzi occasionally follow the son of the Hokage. I know you're worried about me, sensei, and I appreciate that, so it would help if you truly do talk with Kakashi sensei and see if he's agreeable to us joining Team 7 on his training exercise. Hinata pursues. Kurenai studies her warily, crosses her arms. And if I don't follow through with this supposed blackmail? Hinata taps the picture against her chin, hums gently. Then this will be front page news tomorrow, I suppose, across all of Konoha's major magazines and newspapers' gossip sections. I always did think you two should just go public anyways. I want to do that with Naruto one day too. Team 7 and Team 8 Training Ground 3. The sun hasn't yet fully broken through the sky as Sakura approaches the grounds holding in a yawn, milky wisps of night fog lingering against a coming pink and red sunrise. Please let us have a big breakfast or meal waiting for us after whatever this is Kakashi-sensei has planned for this. She internally groans, stops in place seeing at least 3 more figures at the fields. Kiba leans back from the closest tree seeing her first, Akamaru yipping at her arrival. Hey, looks like the only one to not show up yet is the dead last and our respective teachers. Hinata sharply nudges him in his side, making him coil away from her, nods in greeting to her. Good morning, Sakura. Sakura bows slowly in return, eyes shifting to Sasuke for an explanation. He faintly shrugs, sits opposite Shino, who doesn't say anything either on the sudden presence of Team 8 here as well. Oi, sorry I'm late. Wait, why's there so many of us here? Naruto comes up behind her a moment later. Sakura shrugs. Seems we're having some type of joint exercise test thing, it sounds like. She watches though as his gaze shifts to Hinata instead for a proper explanation, how she motions with a shake of her head she isn't sure either what brought up these sudden plans. Naruto raises a brow, smirk edging at his lips before he looks over to the others. Sakura's brows furrow. Strange. Well, whatever they have planned, I'm going to make sure I pass. Naruto declares. No Kakashi-sensei or Kurenai-sensei in sight though. Sakura wonders, peering back towards the ground's entrance. An hour passes, sunlight warming the greenery before Kakashi and Kurenai finally come into view. His eye skirts both teams and Sakura senses a frown forming beneath his mask. This is everybody it seems like. I'd like to mix in the ideas like I suggested to you last night. Kurenai updates. Kakashi nods slowly. Huh, I suppose this will have to work. I'm not used to there being so many people at the grounds when I specifically only booked this for Team 7. This came as a late evening update from Kurenai that she wanted Team 8 to join us. He regards. His gaze lingers on Hinata who simply smiles in return, stare dropping to his book. She beams, mouths out a question. Want me to read the next chapters out loud to everyone here? Reading out Make Out Paradise is the least of his concerns. If she snooped through Kurenai's belongings at some point, she's done the same to him in some form or fashion. Maybe not in breaking into his apartment, but looking into his past. Sasuke and Naruto would be where she would start, his ties to them both that neither are privy to at the moment. You being late doesn't help either. Sakura declares, Kakashi glancing back her way with a renewed smile, claps his hands. It's fine. Now that we're all here, allow us to explain how these two tests will work. We will be conducting both the bell test and search and rescue or destroy. This will review over skills you learned in the academy on how to not only capture one of these 5 bells off of me, but use the key attached to each of them to find the boxes Kurenai has hidden in the forests behind us. At everyone's silence, he goes on. You will need to be sure before using said key that the box is not a trap of some kind using your knowledge of genjutsu and sensory skills. If you can safely collect a bell and box from the forest before noon, you'll pass. Any questions? Sakura and Kiba raise their hands. There's 6 of us and only 5 bells with keys, what gives? Isn't that an automatic failure for one of us? Kiba barks out. Sakura readily nods her agreement. Yes, and what if you get a key, but not a box? What then? Kurenai clears her throat. We'll make a final determination if you pass or fail based on your performance in the next couple of hours. But you're right, one of you will fail and need to return back to the academy for remedial courses. Think wisely and use time management. A shiver washes over Sakura's skin, swallows back her nerves. All of them except for her have a special Kekai Genkei, are stronger and faster. No way can I go back to the academy when I just graduated. I need to prove myself no matter how limited my skills currently are. Naruto stretches as they get to a standing position to head to the starting lines, Sasuke carefully avoiding both their gazes that he plans to do this solo. There has to be something more to these tests that she's missing, otherwise there would have been multiple repeat students in their class. Sakura lingers back, notes Kiba's continued grumbling. She knows insects running in black currents around his arms and legs. They better not slow us down. No way will I hear the end of it from Hana or Mom if I fail something like this. Hinata laughs gently, catches Sakura's stare. Lilac meets Verdant, softens. Well, I for one look forward to working with them all. See, can we team up? Sakura nearly falls off her branch, glances to Hinata to see her cheeks flushed pink, nervous grin playing at her lips. The sun is out enough now to filter through the trees in rays of amber and yellow against them, solidifies how many hours it's been. Everyone else has gotten into positions up ahead, flurry of leaves and dirt ringing out in the distance. Hinata wrings at her hands as Sakura considers a response. Is this some type of trick to get me to lower my guard? Hinata isn't the type though. I thought. This was every man for himself. Sakura falters, recollects herself to center her thoughts. Her mind skitters back to that flash of a glare she sent her yesterday, maybe, gone too fast for her to have been sure. What? But then we could both fail. Sakura sputters. Hinata shakes her head. I think this test is based more on teamwork than necessarily getting a bell key and box. On future missions, we'll all need to rely on our teammates to cover our weaknesses and boost our strengths. It sounds reasonable enough, but her heart still thrums fast in her ears, niggling sensation that makes her stomach knot. Hinata activates her Byakugan, nods for them to move eastward. Come on. The guys probably assume we're going to fail due to lacking their speed and strength. Let's prove them wrong using our brains. Sakura thinks of Sasuke then, how little he must think of her current skills. I lack in taijutsu and ninjutsu though. She bites her lip. And Hinata surely knows this too, she could slow her down the way she is right now. She knows her nature release is tied to earth, but she can barely form cracks in the ground at her present state. No, I need to prove to myself I'm a proper kunoichi. Sakura straightens herself. She tightens her fists, shakes away the last of her nerves to focus. Right, let's go. Hinata walks in front, weaving them past Kurenai's traps along the greenery where flowers intersect, halts them at a split in the trees. Should we go left this time? Sakura considers. Hinata purses her lips thoughtfully, peers between both moss-laden bark before nodding. Go in front, Sakura, there's something near the right side I want to double-check. Possibly one of Shino's insects or Kiba having marked the area. Hinata assesses. Sakura nods, leaps forward onto the next branch, weaves into a thicket of leaves when she hears it too late. The snap of metal. Crunch. A hot wave of pain sears into her left ankle, Sakura holding in a scream as her eyes slowly move down, glint of sunlight catching on silver where her left foot is clamped. A snare trap, laced with barbed wire. Blood trickles and soaks into her shoe, Sakura's breaths coming in gasps. Hinata, help. There was a hidden trap here beneath the leaves. She beckons. Hinata studies her from the opposite tree and Sakura sees her expression shift, pearl eyes turn murky. Cold. Good. She answers flatly, hops over casually beside her, makes no motion to move to get her out of said device. Sakura clenches her teeth not to scream, tears bubbling up. Why aren't you helping me? She chokes out demandingly. Her heartbeat rises in the quiet, too fast drowning out the rustle of leaves, birds taking flight. Acid stings the back of her throat. Her stomach is empty, but nausea and panic loom closer, pressure wrapping around her chest like a vice. Hinata glances between her and the trap calmly, hums gently. Because I put that trap there late last night. I want you to do something for me, Sakura. Please request to switch teams with me. The pain steadies into a dull throb as long as she doesn't move too much, Sakura focusing on her anger instead. What? No. Is this because I'm teamed with Sasuke? Because I'm going to prove to him and myself I can get stronger. Sasuke. Why would I care about him? I want to be with Naruto. Hinata cuts her off, wrinkles her nose in distaste at her assumption. Sakura's brows furrow back. Naruto. I could ask you the same thing. I didn't know any girl liked him of all people knowing how he is. Hinata laughs humorlessly. I'm well aware you think so little of him considering how often he used to annoy you. He won't anymore now that we're dating. Anyways, I'm glad you hold no feelings for Naruto, that should make it easier for you to formally request this team change. Sakura scoffs, upset and confusion boiling over. And if I refuse, what will you do then? Hinata's smile fully fades, jabs at her left arm fully paralyzing one side of her body. Sakura nearly falls, Hinata steadying her upright not to topple for the ground. Oh, I'm not asking you, Sakura. I'm telling you this is how it will be. Jade eyes dig into opalescent as Hinata gets into a sitting position beside her. She claps her hands in delight. Think about it, Kurenai-sensei can improve your genjutsu skills. Uruka-sensei said you had top marks in that area back at the academy. And I think Kakashi-sensei can help me improve in my taijutsu for one day dealing with my father and the elders. We both win in this scenario. Sakura says nothing, glare doing little to Hinata's calm expression. Her gaze skirts back to her leg, notes it turning from crimson to shades of blues and purples. You're losing circulation in that foot going by its color, Sakura, make up your mind. Maybe it will need amputation if it isn't looked at soon and becomes infected AMD necrotic. You can't be a very good kunoichi with just one foot, can you? Sakura winces, deflates. At least tell me why you betrayed me like this. You don't want to kill me. A soft grin returns back to Hinata's lips then. No, killing you isn't necessary right now. I just didn't like how you looked down on Naruto is all. A good lesson learned, right? And now we both got a taste of what dangers await a shinobi for future assignments. We need to always be on guard no matter the terrain. Sakura shakily nods as Hinata taps at her cheek, whispers in her ear. Keep your promise or maybe I will need to do more. And then she gets back to a standing position, cheeks turning a ruddy pinkish red as tears prick her eyes, voice coming out in a shaky scream. Kurenai-sensei, help. There's been an accident. Kakashi and Hiruzen Hokage Tower. Even with the details provided, this is highly unprecedented. Why does Sakura Haruno want to be off of Team 7 now? I figured she'd be happy to be on Sasuke Uchiha's team knowing that he's popular with so many girls in his year. Hiruzen questions. He takes a long drag from his pipe at Kakashi's lack of answer, eye on the clock. It's been nearly an hour, he doesn't like any of his answers. Did you fail her during your bell test? Hiruzen asks point blank. Kakashi shakes his head. No, she actually passed, all of them did even with Kurenai's team joining in. Hiruzen tilts his head curiously, Kakashi forced to repeat the one part of this story he continues to refuse to believe. Hinata. I believe she's forcing Sakura to leave my team for a reason I haven't yet gathered. Hiruzen rubs at his chin. Hinata. Hiyashi's eldest daughter who stutters in conversations and looks down and away during all my previous interactions with her. Kakashi sighs, straightens. I know it's hard to believe, but something has changed about her. She still stutters at times, yes, but I think that's just to hide this new side. She's the only eyewitness who saw what happened to Sakura and I just don't fully buy the story she provided both Kurenai and I. Hiruzen leans forward then. Tell it one more time to me, Kakashi. Exactly as you came upon the scene. What on earth happened? Kurenai yelps, rushes over to assess Sakura's bleeding foot. Hinata helps hold her up via a shoulder, shakes her head. There was another trap in the bushes Sakura didn't see before leaping in. I hadn't had time to fully check, the area was clear as we were getting worried, time was almost up and wanted to be sure we at least found a box. Sakura lets slip a low groan, Hinata changing her position to beneath her arm to guide her to the closest rock to sit. Naruto bulldozes forward, takes one look at Sakura's foot and pales. You can't lose your foot, Sakura. We're all going to be successful shinobi here, you know. Hinata clasps at his hand, lightly pulls him back from getting too close. I used some medical ninjutsu and ointment too, she'll be fine. Geez, it looks like a trap left by some chunin from some previous exercise on these grounds. It's okay, Sakura, your foot should be okay once we get it thoroughly looked at the hospital. Kurenai relates, examines her left side up and down. Sakura manages a weak nod, cracked smile to Hinata. Sorry about this, thank you for help even if it made us both fail. Kakashi steps forward before Hinata can speak. On Sakura's left side along her arm are a faint constellation of bruises, various shades of violet. Her chakra points have been shut down on that side. Why? Kakashi regards, glances to Kurenai who notes them too silently. No need to worry about that, Sakura. You both pass, the point of this exercise is teamwork, it took the boys a bit longer to reach that same conclusion. Naruto huffs at that, turns to ribs Kiba. Your fang over fang almost hit me, you know. You should have told me you were aiming to get Kakashi-sensei out of hiding. Kiba rolls his eyes. That would have ruined the plan, moron. And it worked, didn't it? Your clones formed a barrier that kept him from getting too far away. You believe Sakura's chakra network was shut down by Hinata. Though I don't see what reason she would do this. Hiruzen frowns. Naruto. Kurenai told me too that she got intimate photos of her and Asuma in order for this joint assignment to happen. She wants to be on Naruto's team and she'll increase these actions, I assume, until it happens. Hiruzen falls back against his seat, rubs at his head. We don't have 100% proof that Hinata is behind this despite your suspicions and the evidence provided. That isn't to say I don't believe you, just that perhaps Hinata and Sakura switching team positions isn't such a bad idea. Kakashi withers. You want to reward her behavior. Hiruzen huffs. No, just that you can keep a better eye on her than Kurenai can if she's truly doing these actions. We can't dismiss Hinata as a kunoichi without proof. It will have the Hyuga demanding evidence and will look to others that we casted out a normally shy, nervous girl for no reason but assumptions. Besides, Sakura came by this morning already with the request of team transfer papers. She said Kurenai can better improve her in genjutsu and will give her the attention in her weaknesses that you ignored. Kakashi's features remain impassive. He pictures that Sakura came in via crutches, lips pursed in concentration, sweat beating her back. Hiruzen crosses his hands. It seems you're the only one against this, Kakashi. Fine, but I need to talk to Hinata one-on-one. Kakashi and Hinata Sayoko's tea house. Hinata stirs at her chamomile tea, blows at it before adding a few drops of milk. Sayoko bows as Hinata sends her a grateful smile before moving on to her next patrons. It's thankfully quiet at this late hour, shop set to close in the next hour or so. Thank you for this meal Kakashi-sensei. What's the occasion for? Hinata asks gently. Kakashi studies her, the timid coil of her hands around her teacup to prevent their visible shaking, gaze more on the platters of fruits and sweets set out before them than on him. You can stop the act with me. Hinata blinks, cocks her head as if he's a puzzle. I know the monster behind that sweet persona. Kakashi pursues with a sharper tone. Hinata straightens her posture, smile vanishing. Monster. A bit harsh coming from a teammate killer. She laughs dryly at his sour. Look, I don't even see why you care so much about Sakura. You said it yourself that you don't even like your assigned group all that much, didn't even want to be a sensei in the first place. Kakashi clicks his tongue, but Hinata rocks on her toes, hums. Is it because she reminds you of Rin? Something precious you don't want to see die too, right? Well, Sakura will never grow treating her like glass. And let's face it, you're going to have your hands full dealing with Sasuke and Naruto's inevitable squabbles. Kakashi groans softly. So why do you want to be on Team 7 instead then if I'm so terrible? Hinata snorts. For Naruto. Though it would be nice if you don't treat me like a monster, and teach me some taijutsu and ninjutsu too. We share a lighting affinity, I know that. Under your tutelage, I can defeat father and any elder who tries to cross me in the future or tries to divert me from my goals using the Byakugan not just for fighting. Kakashi says nothing, Hinata dipping a spoon into her blueberry cake. I'm sure Naruto won't like that you hid from him that his dad was your sensei. Enough maybe to activate the nine-tailed fox's powers. And Sasuke, you have knowledge about his fallen clan with that eye of yours you got from Obito Uchiha. These are facts I gathered from Konoha's central library and the old yearbooks at the academy. Now I know these are kept hidden by the Hokage's orders for the most part, but there's no policy about guiding them to question said things. Hinata muses between bites. She looks up at Kakashi, stirs at her bowl as the icing starts to melt. Kakashi studies her. If you're really going to be a part of my team, I'm going to be constantly keeping an eye on you. Any sign of attacking a fellow teammate will have you instantly gone from continuing your shinobi career. Hinata nods sincerely. So, are you going to keep rejecting me being on Team 7? Should I spread rumors about this meeting? Will people believe you? I can't harm you physically, sensei, but I will damage your reputation in so many other ways if need be. Kakashi responds by moving from his chair for the check, considers what Naruto would say if he knew of his connection to his dad before shaking the thought away. Naruto and Hinata. Naruto's apartment. Konoha's hospital. I'm your girlfriend, so stop worrying about other girls. Hinata pouts. Naruto waves up a hand. It's not like that. I just want to be sure Sakura is feeling better, you know. We can both go, I'm sure she'd like plenty of visitors and friends. No, she won't. Hinata sighs. She grabs gently at his arm and swerves him to look at her, and heat reignites in his stomach at this light grin she's reserved only for him. He's been so used to girls instantly looking away from him, lips contorting in disgust. But Hinata's gaze stays on him, softens. Naruto, I told you I'm the cause behind her injury. I'm the last person Sakura wants to see. Naruto nods, reaffirms his own grip. Right. And we're going together so that Sakura knows we're dating and there's no more ill will between you guys. Hinata groans softly under her breath, Naruto clearly not going to let this subject go like she hoped. She thumbs at his cheek, pleased when it faintly warms under her touch. Just as long as she knows you're mine. Naruto nods eagerly. She will, don't worry. She brings along a pink and white orchid just to have something in her hands, colors warm and familiar to Sakura to hopefully make her less uneasy. To her and Naruto's surprise, she already has a visitor as they approach her room. Familiar onyx locks and blue attire. Sasuke. Naruto's face contort in puzzlement, Hinata shrugging when he glances to her. Equally unsure what to make of the Uchiha's presence here. They stay back out in the hall, neither noticing them just yet. He sits opposite Sakura, sunlight falling over his back highlighting his crossed arms, flat look. I don't believe you really wanted to quit being on Kakashi-sensei's team just because of what happened during the bell test. Did Hinata say something to you to change your mind? Sakura bristles, forces a weak laugh. Geez, and here I was excited about you actually visiting me in the hospital, Sasuke. And all you're doing is bringing up memories I'd rather forget. She purses her lips at Sasuke's lack of response, straightens up against her pillows, fingers clutching at her bedsheets. Now hold on, what's wrong with me wanting to get stronger under a different sensei? I can learn a mix of genjutsu and poisons under Kurenai sensei. Those are specialties that I'm not sure Kakashi sensei would particularly focus on with me when he'll need to focus on teaching you in Naruto. Sasuke sighs, taps a finger impatiently against her bed linen. And what makes you so sure of that? Sakura looks at him fully, then, blush vanishing, verdant eyes softening. Because I'm not from a prestigious clan like you, Sasuke, where you'll always be a target for your eyes. And while the Uzumaki name isn't famous, Naruto is leaps ahead of me when it comes to physical prowess. I'm already behind in those areas. And Kakashi sensei can help you grow in those weaknesses. Look, just tell me what Hinata said or did to you back on the training grounds. I want to be prepared if she has ulterior motives for being on this team. Sakura's head falls back against her pillows, shifts into the scent of the tulip and peony flowers Ino dropped by earlier as a rare show of friendship. Pink and yellow petals slide along her fingertips, soft and smooth, the opposite of her still mangled left foot. I know we haven't exactly been on talking terms in years. Ino scuffs her feet against the tile, sighs, stepping properly into the room. Sakura shrugs, gestures with her hand to the open chair beside her, pleased to not see mom or dad hovering at the doorway for once. It's all right. Ino shakes her head. It's just when I overheard from Mrs. Sakai and Mrs. Nakamori that you were in the hospital, I knew this wasn't just some accident, going by how reputable both ladies' gossip are. You can be honest with me, forehead or air. Sakura, tell me how bad your foot is. Hinata's only ulterior motives is that she wants to be near Naruto. You'll be fine if you don't get in the way of that. Sakura relates. Sasuke's brows furrow, still not understanding, knock at the door stopping him from asking for more details. Hinata pokes her head in, clears her throat quietly as she adjusts the orchid down to look Sasuke and Sakura properly. Naruto happily bounds up beside her, presses a hand to her back urging her to go in. Sakura, we came to visit you and make you feel better, you know. Naruto chirps out in greeting. Hinata bows to them both, sets down the orchid next to Ino's flowers. Sasuke regards her blankly and Hinata feels her chest knot at the idea of him trying to maybe persuade Kakashi sensei against this team swap too. From what she overheard, settles into a chair on the opposite side of Sakura's bed. She notes the way Sakura's hand quickly coils around her call light like a raft to keep her afloat, ready to call for help at an instant. Oh, there's no need to be so jittery when there's so many doctors and nurses around. Hinata glances to Sakura, still adamantly refusing to meet her eyes. Fine. Her gaze shifts back to Sasuke, grins softly. I'm looking forward to working with you, Sasuke, growing together as a team. But her eyes stay on Naruto as the words leave her lips, pink flush rising to her cheeks as Naruto beams. In return, Hinata and Neji Hyuga compound meditation garden. I don't see anything different about her. Neji bites slowly at his tamagoyaki and natto as he observes Hinata across the table, nodding politely along as Hosoka regals them with other tidbits of advice for starting out their shinobi careers. And the early bird really does get the worm if you want to get good assignments. You need to head to the tower early when they swap out the old missions on the bulletin boards for new ones of the day or week. Neji tunes him out, thinking. Lady Haruka and Hinaki were said to have crossed Hinata's mood for the final time sometime last week. To the point that she actually fought Hanabi seriously for the heiress title. He recalls from whisperings among the attendants. But the Hinata before him now isn't acting any different from what he's used to seeing, still quietly watching other conversations go on around her without adding anything, head down focused solely on her meal. He scoffs to himself, it must have been just a fluke then. Hiyashi comes to him after breakfast, gestures with a head towards the meditation garden. I'd like you to have a sparring session with Hinata this afternoon, around 2 p.m. Neji arches a brow as his lips tighten, twists them out of the room away from anyone else hearing. This won't be like past spars you two have had, Neji, don't let your guard down. Neji nods slowly in return, doesn't ask him for further details as he leaves with grandfather to discuss another meeting with the Takatori clan and other clan leaders in Konoha for later this week. He hasn't seen Hinata put in any further training than usual in the meditation rooms or at the training grounds. Uncle's concerns seem unwarranted. Sunlight crawls across the garden where he finds her again shortly after lunch, feeding at the koi. Hold on, Mika-chan, Ryo-kun, there's plenty of pellets for everyone. Hinata giggles, regarding as the twin silver-orange fish nibble at her fingers. They disappear back into the green-blue waters as Neji makes his approach. No care at all for our coming sparring match in an hour. Neji asks breezily by way of greeting. He waits for her shoulders to lock, for her eyes to nervously flit away. Hinata studies her reflection quietly, half looks at him. Not necessarily. Should I be? Neji crosses his arms. Uncle said to fight you seriously, I won't be holding back. Hinata stares at him fully then, gets to a standing position. Neji, you've never fought me, holding back, considering how much you hate me for things that were outside my control. Her abrupt sharpness makes him pause as her eyes darken, steps closer, taps gently at the center of his head. You might be stronger than me, Neji, but I will show you today all that I've been practicing in. A reminder that you aren't as strong as you think. Neji brushes her hand away, smirks. What, do you mean those sessions you've done with Naruto? He's the dead last in your class, don't forget. There's little you could have learned from him that will make a difference in our match today. Hinata grabs at his hand before he can fully move it away, jerks it back as opalescent mists over. With her other hand, she raises up her fingers. The seal on his forehead glows, activates. His eyes widen a fraction, chest sinking in. You're not. Hinata stares at him flatly. This is your punishment. The first pulses of pain come before he can move back, curse seal singing as he drops to the ground writhing. Hinata hovers over him, crouches down as she counts down slowly from 10 seconds. I don't mind if you talk negatively about me, but not Naruto. Don't forget that I can use this seal, even if I don't want to. You may not believe me right now, but one day I do want to unite our clans into one. See you in 1 hour. Hinata murmurs by his ear before walking away. Neji watches her go, teeth clenched, taste of blood simmering on his tongue. So this is what Uncle was alluding to. But Hinata admitted herself she isn't up this par yet, he can still outspeed her in his use of the Byakugan and Gentle Fist. A small gathering of both main and branch members comes to watch their spar outdoors, clouds blotting the sky helping cool the area. We will do a best of 3 rounds, both of you get into position. Hiyashi orders. As soon as they both have their hands up, Hiyashi nods. Good. Begin. Hinata imbues fire into her fingertips, swerves under Neji's coming right arm to go for his left. Fire release, blaze current. Heat digs in under his left armpit and shoulder in a circling wave, ducks before Hinata can further jab into his left arm. He knocks out her right shoulder in return, grunts into her ear. You're still slower than me, forfeit unless you want all your chakra points to be shut down. He shifts back, stomps a foot to the ground. Earth release, mud wall. The barrier keeps the rest of her fire from wrapping around his arm, snuffing it out. Stop. First round goes to Neji. Hiyashi calls out. They leap back from each other, Hinata rolling her shoulders. Round 2 Hinata goes in with lightning, rises against Neji's strikes before kicking up a splash of water from the pond towards him. And as soon as it hits his jacket, she pounces. Lightning release, flash palm. The burst of electricity momentarily stops him in place, Hinata piercing at his chest and neck, blood and spit knocked out of him as white eyes study each other. Neji steps back seeing that fog again in Hinata's eyes, nails poised for his throat. This match is going beyond a simple spar from her change in features, darkness edging in. Enough. Second round goes to Hinata. Hiyashi yells before they can dig in. But Hinata doesn't move back, gaze steely as she turns her head to Neji's ear. I can force your loss in the next round by activating the seal again and there will be nothing you can do. Or, apologize for talking negatively about Naruto and say that he's stronger than you, right now in front of me and everyone. Neji goes rigid. Uncle hadn't meant to be wary of Hinata's strength, he meant her change in attitude. Still, he grits his teeth. There would be no greater shame than to confess that Naruto Uzumaki, who is prone to pranks and loud declarations of how he'll one day be Hokage, could somehow best him in a match. And if I don't? Hinata smiles then I guess you won't miss me taking Uncle Hazashi's belongings from your room. Perhaps I'll burn them in front of you, the past should stay in the past, right? Neji watches as she goes back to her position, mind rattling. The consequences of this match will ripple out beyond this afternoon if he doesn't stop. Hinata will find little things like asking Guy-sensei to wake him up every day at 5 a.m. for morning runs with Lee to bigger things like roaming through his father's personal collections. You don't hate me that much, do you? He murmurs. Hinata shakes her head, hurt by his words. I don't hate you, Neji. On the contrary, I see you as a brother, one that's let hate and misunderstandings cloud his mind for too long. Neji snorts then. There is no misunderstanding. Father died for the main branch because that was his destiny. Hinata's eyes narrow once more. Well, decide if your stubbornness is truly worth it. Neji, are you ready? Hiyashi's voice swims up out of the rush of his thoughts. His hands shake at his sides, tongue dry. When he looks back to Hinata again, her form is slouched, catching her breath, and he can't be sure if this is partially an act for the elders or if she's truly just as tired too. Before he can stop himself, he twists around. No, I need to check on something. He can feel Hinata's soft grin on his back as he moves for his room. Her threats patter after him like a shadow. What is she doing here? Kakashi pauses. In coming morning light he takes in violet hair, messy locks nestled against Naruto's chest. His gaze turns to take in the sheen of drool on Naruto's cheek, one arm casually slung around Hinata while the other hangs off his bed. Yellow-orange rays start to spread against their pillows and bedspread. It feels more like he's interrupting a private moment between them than just him doing one of his usual check-ins on how Naruto is doing when he's not with the rest of Team 7. No, this shouldn't really come as a surprise to him. Hinata coming by Naruto's home in the night or perhaps being invited in by Naruto himself should no longer shock him considering what he now knows about her. His last visit here to Naruto's apartment shortly after their new team formation struck at her ire as well once she caught wind of it, annoyed that he'd done nothing about the older and expired foods about Naruto's fridge and pantry. It wasn't like he'd done so purposefully though, like she assumed. He had formed a plan in place to make a grocery run or list of things Naruto needed to buy, but Hinata didn't want to hear it. Don't worry, your help in those areas is no longer necessary. You'd probably let Naruto drink expired milk again instead of teaching him about what the dates on the bottles actually mean. Hinata is the first to stir at his light tapping to the window, white eyes opening blearily before taking him in with a frown, opening the sill just a crack. Good morning, Kakashi-sensei. Why are you using the window to greet us and not the front door? Kakashi answers her question with one of his own. Why are you at Naruto's house at this time of day? Hinata's brows furrow, leans her head against her palm. At his silence, her cheeks darken at his implication. That's none of your business, get your mind out of the gutter, sensei. All we're doing is sleeping next to each other as friends. She crosses her arms with a huff, considers him then with a light grin at his flat look. Oh, but I guess that's hard for someone like you to do considering how often you read smut in public without care. Her moving about wakes Naruto as well, sitting up with a yawn. Who are ya talking to, Hinata? Oh, morning Kakashi-sensei, what's up? Do you have an urgent new assignment for us? Kakashi shakes his head, Naruto deflating before falling back against his pillows. I can't deal with finding another missing dog or cat. Or pulling weeds for that old hag Takashita who purposely gives me the harder plots of her garden to toil through, you know. Kakashi sighs, gestures to his bedroom clock. Just be ready in 1 hour, you two. We'll meet outside the Hokage Tower and go up together to determine if Lord Third has any new missions we can take. Genin normally only get assigned D-rank missions though, so don't get your hopes up. Hinata nods, murmurs something in Naruto's ear that gets him out of bed to the kitchen. Pearl eyes switch back to Kakashi, narrowing. What? You can go now. Kakashi clicks his tongue. You do know we both want what's best for Naruto, right? We aren't on opposing sides for that. Hinata says nothing for a moment, turns to look at him fully. I don't see it yet. And if that's true, show it. Do you really think this is how Lord Fourth would have wanted you to act towards his son? Not at least teaching him the fundamentals or basics like cooking and cleaning up after himself. Frustration clouds Kakashi's dark eyes despite his posture not changing, Hinata softening some. I know you've seen and dealt with a lot as a shinobi from my looking into your past. It comes with the territory, and for that, I can't blame you for not being a part of Naruto's early years. It's true too, I've been prickly with you, and for that I apologize formally now as your student. Hinata bows. Kakashi blinks in surprise, waves away her apology. However, I'm not going to let you or anyone continue to affect Naruto's chances of improving himself or for myself. She continues. Kakashi simply nods, takes his leave as Hinata moves to join Naruto in his kitchen. She smiles, taking in the scent of tamagoyaki, toast, rice, and natto. Teaching him small breakfast foods to make is slowly coming to fruition. What's wrong with eating ramen? Naruto pouts as Hinata puts away his instant cups of miso and tonkatsu ramen back into his cabinets. His muscles burn from her gentle fist, nowhere near up to speed in any wind-related jutsu from her getting chakra induction paper for him. Ramen would be the perfect pick-me-up. She wouldn't explain where she got said induction paper beyond stating from the academy, probably having convinced Iruka-sensei or Kakashi-sensei. Maybe I should lock these up, so he doesn't get tempted. Hinata considers before deciding against it. It will incentivize him during their next sparring session in the woods. Outside, moonlight approaches, silver light slipping across the wood flooring. Sweat sticks to both of them, scent of pine needles and mud on their clothes. She knows Naruto ate ramen for breakfast and lunch, dinner needs to be a change of meal. Hinata shakes her head. Too much salt isn't good for your diet, Naruto. Plus, you'll need to learn how to cook not just for yourself, but our kids too one day. If we make a good variety, you'll get used to other meals. She sets down the assortment of vegetables, fruits, and meats she took from the compound. Let's start with omuris tonight and then curry udon or katsudon tomorrow. It smells good, we'll probably have leftovers. Hinata compliments him. Naruto chuckles, scratches at his cheek. Well, it's not perfect, you know. It's a bit burnt on the sides, but not bad. Hinata shakes her head as she takes a seat opposite him. The main thing is you're progressing, let's eat. Kakashi and Sasuke are already waiting for them by the time they get to the tower, Naruto straightening up. I plan to ask Old Man Third for a more exciting mission, something higher than D rank. He explains to Sasuke. Sasuke's brows furrow, glances over to Kakashi as his eye crinkles silently. He steps forward before Sasuke can move back, shakes at his shoulders. Come on, surely you want to go on a more difficult assignment too, right? It's getting boring chasing after lost cats and dogs every day, you know. We won't get stronger only doing D-rank missions within the village. Hinata adds to hopefully further entice him. Sasuke shrugs in return at them both, brushes Naruto off, though his thoughtful expression betrays his true interest. Fine. Naruto beams, eagerly pumps up in a fist in victory. Perfect, we're all on board then. He rushes ahead right into the Hokage's office, ignores shouts from both advisors and other shinobi to slow down. Hiruzen takes Naruto's arrival in stride, sighs as towers of paperwork fall down forming a sea of white on the ground. He takes a drag from his pipe as Kakashi, Sasuke, and Hinata file in after him. Naruto. Care to tell me the reason behind such a noisy arrival? Naruto places a hand against his desk. I talked it over with my teammates and we'd like a higher ranked assignment. No more D-rank missions. Hiruzen blows out a breath, peers too. Kakashi to verify this and more so confirm Hinata hasn't been an issue to him since switching with Sakura. All of Kakashi's worries seem to have been just extra precautions. Kakashi nods discreetly, Hiruzen picking up a file from a stack on his left. Well, I suppose you all are in luck then. I do have a C-rank assignment, an escort mission to the Land of Waves. For Tazuna, the bridge builder. I'll ask Kano to send him in. Tazuna takes them in however with a scowl as soon as he steps in. His breath is layered with sake, cheeks a telltale flush, eyes glazed and annoyed realizing they're all genin. His glare lingers the longest on Naruto and Hinata digs her nails into her palm not to move, not to grab at a pen or paperclip off Lord Third's desk and jab right into that disgruntled frown. Ah, this man is going to test my patience it seems. Ah, you really want some fresh brats right out of the academy to escort me? Are you sure nobody else is available? Not sure I trust the blonde one with how he ran in here. Tazuna huffs. Hiruzen smiles patiently. I know you're in a rush to get back to your daughter and grandson. Our more experienced shinobi are unfortunately away at the moment. Kakashi Hatake is this squad's leader, he'll be in attendance with the team to help put your mind at ease. Tazuna brushes a hand through his locks. Alright, seems I don't have any other options. We'll head out first thing tomorrow morning at 7 AM if that's alright with you all. Kakashi nods, accepts the file from Hiruzen while keeping an eye on Hinata as her gaze bores into Tazuna's back before they go. She pierces at his arm as Hiruzen dismisses him, Tazuna jolting in shock, Hinata pointing to the ground. Be careful, Naruto accidentally knocked over some thumbtacks when he first came in. Tazuna steps back seeing the colorful mix of yellow and red push pins right near his feet more clearly now amid the paperwork. Oh, yes, thank you, he mumbles. Hinata smiles, bows. We look forward to working with you. Kakashi notes the edge to her tone as she twists to go. She didn't show any outright hostility he supposes. And hopefully she won't for this whole mission. Hinata, Hanabi and Neji, Hinata and Hiyashi Hyuga Manor. Did you find Uncle's letters and pictures? Hinata asks gently over Neji's shoulder. Neji keeps his meditative stance, mid-afternoon sun warming his back. Yes. They were in the same spot as always. Hinata nods, ignores that he attempts to twist his body away from her direction. Good. Did you learn now that it's dangerous to assume I'll continue to be a pushover to you? Neji opens his eyes then. White to white. He grits his teeth as Hinata tilts her head, taps right in the middle of his headband. His curse mark prickles. Well, can I expect an answer when I ask you a question? Yes, I know now. Neji hisses out. Hinata nods and Neji bites his tongue too late, anger spilling out. This doesn't mean Naruto or even you could ever hope to defeat me in a match. His chest lurches, waits for her to activate the seal again. Nothing. Hinata blinks at him, smiles. She pats at his shoulder. I'm glad you got that out of your system. It would have been embarrassing to the clan and yourself if you did that in front of everyone when you lose to Naruto eventually. Her grip becomes a squeeze, nails digging in like claws. Remember this moment if I ever decide to force you to lose by activating the seal in front of everyone during the Chunin exams. Or maybe Naruto will get a hold of you first depending on the matchups. I'm sure no matter how much Lord Third and his advisors may want to try to be fair, they won't let two Hyuga be promoted to Chunin in the same year. She calms herself at Neji's widened eyes, says. The last thing that she truly wants to say. Please ask father about Uncle Hazashi's final letter for you while I'm away on assignment. I overheard a few years ago during a private discussion between him and grandfather that he was waiting to give it to you when you were old enough. I'm sure now that you've officially been a part of a three-man team for little over a year now that you're mature enough to read its contents. She carries on to her room to pack for tomorrow before he can answer, careful to keep her distance from Neji's curling hands, pinched expression. He could try to kill me before then. Hinata considers, stomach knotting at the thought. Going on this mission to wave is for the best, maybe Neji will cool down some after a few sparring sessions with father and grandfather. No, his dislike of me and Hanabi has been ongoing for years. Hinata's shoulders drop. She thought this new attitude would bring about a little respect from him, but Neji will always find her to be weak. Unfit to be heiress. And getting upset, angry, or ignoring him will change nothing until he loses, learns the truth father keeps hidden from him. Hanabi leaps forward as soon as she opens her door. There you are. She nuzzles into her side and Hinata relaxes, squeezes her back in return. How long have you been hiding in here away from Lady Natsu? You have world history and calligraphy studies today, don't you? Hanabi pouts out her cheeks. I wanna stay in here and read books with you big sis. And, Hinata weaves them over to her bed, tussles at her chestnut locks. And what? Quiz you just in case Lady Natsu stops you from getting mochi after dinner. She questions. Hanabi shakes her head, pink staining her cheeks at the memory of the last time she got caught by her. No, I wanted to ask about you big sis. You've been so different since our last spar. Is it because of what the elders said? Hinata hums, Hanabi settling into her lap. Yes, no. It's because of what they said I decided to take steps to be with Naruto. Hanabi looks up at her, voice dropping to a whisper. You're really dating him. But father said he's a bad influence, that he's really just Konoha's weapon in case of war breaking out again amid the nations. Oh, I don't care what father thinks of me anymore. Hinata grins. Hanabi gapes, those words left her lips so breezily. Casually. Hinata taps at her nose. We're dating and once we're engaged, I'll officially bring Naruto around the compound because he'll eventually be your brother-in-law. And you'll be an auntie to our kids. Hanabi's eyes haze over with puzzlement and Hinata giggles, pats at her shoulders. Why you'd move out then? She murmurs. I don't want big sis to go. I'll be forced to spar with Neji even more often with her gone. Kunoichis don't complain. Hyuga don't cry in front of others. Remember this Hanabi, you could be heiress one day. Natsu drills her. Hanabi nods along, stones sinking into her gut. The rain outside luckily drowns out her whimper, hates whenever this topic comes up. What if I don't want to be heiress? She'd buried the thought down knowing Hinata had fought her seriously. But that doesn't mean that there won't be another challenge of who's next to lead the clan possibly popping up again in the near future. Her heartbeat swishes louder in her ears, static becoming a wave drowning out anything else Hinata is saying to her. Hinata nuzzles her face against hers, breaking her from her thoughts. That's not for a couple of more years, Hanabi. I'll always come to visit you. Who knows, maybe father and Neji will have loosened up more by then too. In the interim, don't worry. I'll always find a way to protect you. Hanabi doesn't immediately answer, takes in her lilac curtains and bedding, the way Hinata has a side view of the koi garden. Her room is on the side facing away from father's and her chest tightens at a realization taking in the greenery to the southeast. A path that could lead to the backwoods. One where Hinata would just need to avoid a few guards via knowing their schedules or bribing them to look the other way when she slipped out. Hanabi curls at her toes. I don't see what's so great about Naruto Uzumaki to go such lengths to sneak out to see him. Or take food from the kitchen after the attendants have turned in for the night. Hinata shrugs but reddens at her knowing of her nightly activities so easily when no one else seemed to notice, slides Hanabi gently off. That's okay, you'll understand once you find the one. The one. Hanabi parrots back, helps her with getting her kunai and medicine bag and gear. Hinata stops midway at her folding to look at her. Kakashi-sensei didn't say how long they'll be away, but at least 5 days worth of extra clothes and toiletries should be enough. The one that's worth the trouble and danger, Naruto, is that for me. She states earnestly. Hanabi huffs in return and Hinata snickers, dropping the topic to ask about her day. By dawn, she's ready before even the change of guards for day shift, sky still littered with stars, pink hues tinting the horizon. Hiyashi greets her at the front gate, grabs at Hinata's shoulder before she can move past him. Good luck. It's your first major assignment away from Konoha and the protection of the guards, I'm sure you'll do the Hyuga name proud. Hinata pries his hand away akin to as if he's a fly she's shooing away. It's odd. Not even a month ago I'm sure you wouldn't have cared if I lived or died on any assignment I took. Hiyashi purses his lips at her cold tone. How long will you hold my actions and words of the past against me, Hinata? I am trying to make some amends. Hinata straightens, smiles gently. All right, father. You can start by branding Lady Haruka and Hinaki with the curse seal of the branch family in front of everyone. Cast them out of the main clan so they can have true consequences, experience what it feels like to be truly seen as beneath someone. Hiyashi stiffens, shadow passing over his features. The trees crackle in his silence, owls and fireflies retreating to the darker parts of the woods and mountains as sunlight warms the grasses and their feet. Lady Haruka and Hinaki were nursemaids in my youth, cared for Hizashi and I when we got sick. I can't just. Hinata steps back, sighs. I'm going to be late if I dawdle here any longer. You won't do it, will you? She turns away as Hiyashi rubs at his chin in response. Asking him to change what has been in place for generations since the Hyuga formally settled in Konoha is too big of an ask, next in line to lead the clan or not. It's fine. I'll dismantle the main and branch clans my own way. Border between Land of Fire and Wave Team 7 and Tazuna. Something's off here. Kakashi takes in the grasslands before glancing back to the sky, clear and cloudless. It hasn't rained in these parts of the woods in over a week. And yet they've passed 2 puddles now since heading out. The ground beneath them trembles and Kakashi twists just in time as the shadow of 2 figures arise behind him. The one to his left snickers, reveals a gauntlet from underneath his cloak. Twin chains shoot out twisting about his legs and chest, body toppling down. Hey, getting rid of their team leader was a piece of cake. Tazuna, you're next. Maizu declares, jabbing a finger in his direction. Oh no. The demon brothers. Tazuna panics. He'd hoped Gato and his men wouldn't get wind of his departure from Wave in the middle of the night days ago, but he should have known better. He has eyes and ears all about the village, keeping tabs on every single resident. Especially on anyone trying to get outside help. Hinata bites her lip. This duo can counter any fire jutsu with their water, and using lightning could harm Tazuna and her teammates as well, being in such close proximity. Her eyes flash to Naruto, slinking her body slowly towards Tazuna and him. Tazuna goes rigid, stepping back from the pair as their gazes lock on him, Naruto freezing up as well. Why are these two shinobi here? How are we supposed to face them if even Kakashi-sensei fell to them? His thoughts swirl. Hinata squeezes at Naruto's arm to get his attention right as Gozu swings his gauntlet in their direction, blade still managing to nick his cheek as their bodies slam into the ground. Her eyes widen in alarm, Naruto shaking his head as he swipes away the droplets of blood. I'm fine. Hey, it barely scratched me. Hinata shakes her head, nails scratching into his jacket. He jumped in front of me before I could even stop him. Gozu chuckles at his bravado, Sasuke leaping in before their shuriken chains can cross against them both once again. He draws in a breath of air, and it clicks for Hinata what he's about to do, what she wishes she could have done from a long distance somehow via everything she's learned in and outside her clan's walls. The Hyuga are close-range fighters. A weakness she must learn to counteract here in the field. Fire release, fireball jutsu. The flames rope around their chains, metal blackening before melting and igniting, duo forced to drop their gauntlets before the fire reaches them. Maizu scoffs, stares in Naruto's direction. No need to act so brave, kid. Once that poison sets in, you'll be whimpering and curled on the ground, joining that sensei of yours in death. Naruto pales at that, Hinata digging a kunai out from her pouch, presses it against his cheek. Dig out the poison, calm your thoughts. It's still technically 3 versus 2. We can do a coordinated attack together. Hinata states, voice warbling as Naruto's blood creates a trail of scarlet down his jacket onto his hand. She wills her hands and body not to fidget, to stay collected herself. Naruto bristles, straightens himself. A voice clears his throat behind the demon brothers. Who said anything about me being dead? Kakashi questions. He jabs at them both in the back before they can move, ties them up handily to the closest tree. Both he and Sasuke send Tazuna withering looks, barely out of Konoha and already ambushed by 2 strange men. Alright, just count down from 3. Naruto steadies his breathing, jabs the kunai into his cheek, getting rid of any lingering toxin. Hinata watches as his wound starts to heal itself, steps forward. Naruto, can I borrow your kunai for just a moment please? He blinks at her clouded look. I'm okay, Hinata. Just for a second, I promise. She interrupts gently. What exactly are they muttering about? Sasuke frowns, notes the way Naruto's expression relaxes to understanding as he passes Hinata the blade. She steps forward to the tied brothers, crouches low in front of them. Maizu spits at her cheek, grins at her blank look. What girly? Wanna gloat about winning? Don't forget, you didn't do anything. It was all that boy in the blue and your sensei who did the real work. Hinata nods, swipes away the drool. You're absolutely right. That's why I must do my part here and now, especially for what you two did to Naruto. She turns the kunai and pierces it straight into Maizu's neck, caught between a laugh and a gasp of shock, slices from right to left in a jagged line. His body instantly slumps over, eyes turning glassy. Gozu screeches in alarm as his brother's blood soaks her arms, sprays onto him. He fidgets at his wrappings to no avail as Hinata pins her eyes on him next. What the hell are you doing, you crazy woman? We're already tied up. Hinata flicks off Maizu's blood, shrugs. What does it matter that you're tied up? As soon as we leave this area, you two will break out of these bindings and go back to committing petty crimes or worse. It's better I remove you both from this world. Don't worry, you'll be joining your brother shortly in the afterlife. She slices at his neck before he can scream out, tears filling his eyes. Her eyes drop to their chests, Kakashi roughly pulling her back before she can stab at them too to be sure both brothers are truly dead. He slaps the kunai out of her hands, shakes her shoulders. That was unnecessary. They would have been found by border security and arrested. At least shinobi and even passing caravans know better than to ask too many questions on bodies found in the woods. Their headbands mark them as having come from Kurigakure, a long ways away from home. In enemy territory. Hinata's arms drop, voice a whisper as he slushes water against her jacket, blood changing from bright vermilion to a coppery maroon. We don't know that. Both of these guys would have gone after Tazuna again if we just left them alive. Yes, and I'm going to question him next about those two. This assignment clearly isn't actually AC rank 1. Kakashi stares Hinata down, switches gears. The best way to follow this is to learn these shifts in her, a pattern that Naruto seems to be the only one to fully detect and comprehend. What brought that on? Are you feeling okay? A grin slowly etches up her lips at his concern, tension leaving her body. He isn't all that mad at her really for her action. Better now, thanks. I know I can't squirm like that ever again in front of an enemy shinobi, right sensei? Kakashi blows out a breath, nods. Right, I couldn't afford the Ryo required for AB or even a rank assignment. I'm sorry for deceiving you all. Tazuna admits quietly. Kakashi's brows furrow. Tell us what's truly going on in Wave. Tazuna nods, wrinkles his hat between his fingers as he takes in a breath. Ever since Gato and his men took over, he's created a blanket of fear amongst us all. Anyone who tries to stand up to him is quickly killed in either an open execution or forcibly disappeared. But we can't keep living this way. People are starting to starve and are dying from what were once simple colds or coughs. I left 2 nights ago, and it probably got back to Gato's men before even daybreak. Kakashi rubs at his chin, takes in the demon brothers' corpses, Hinata washing the lingering blood out from her jacket's sleeves. Well, normal protocol should be for us to return back to Konoha and let Lord Third know. He trails off. Naruto instantly perks up, steps forward. No, I mean, we can handle this sensei. It would take too much time to go back to Konoha and Mr. Tazuna and the rest of Wave's citizens need our help right now, you know. Tazuna readily agrees. Kid has a point. Plus, it would mean the world to my daughter, grandson, and the rest of the villagers to not lose hope in this situation being only temporary now that I have outside help. Trying to tug at my heartstrings, huh? Kakashi sighs. He hums in thought, weighing the pros and cons, glances to Sasuke and Hinata who nod in unison with Naruto's declaration. Alright, we'll keep going then. His gaze locks back on Tazuna. But I need every last detail from you before we get there. Tazuna nods gratefully, leads the way towards the docks. A fog settles over the water and air as they head out, warm and muggy blanketing them all. Around. Gato is a businessman that primarily works with sea shipments. However, it's actually just a front for activities he does, selling drugs, weapons, whatever illegal contraband you can think of really. Over these last couple of months, he's blocked off and taken control of all our major shipping routes, wants to prevent us from building the bridge that will connect us to the other major regions to generate income. People are going to keep dying and falling ill unless changes are made. Naruto leans forward curiously. Why hasn't anyone tried to stand up to this guy, you know? Like strength in numbers. Tazuna dryly laughs. One man did. My son-in-law Kaiza. He never let any of Gato's threats get to him until he ambushed him one day, strung him up and did a public execution. Hinata pales, gaze shifting to the waters while Sasuke's drops to the bottom of the boat. Naruto clenches his hands. How many men are working with Gato, you would say? Tazuna shrugs. At least a good 30 to 50 guards patrolling about 24/7. He used Kaiza as an example of what could happen to any of us should we try and fight back against him. Kakashi nods his understanding, no need for him to dredge up any more painful memories. The rest of the ride is quiet, mist clearing as they get back on land. My house is maybe a 10 to 15 minute walk away as long as we don't have any further setbacks. Tazuna relates. Hinata nods to Kakashi, activates her Byakugan to scope the area, frown edging up her lips detecting movement from the bushes opposite them. There's someone else here with us. And then a second later, the swish of metal screeches out. Team 7 Land of Wave, docks. Everyone, get down. Then form the Manji formation around Tazuna. Kakashi commands. A sword taller than them all whizzes through the air just as the order leaves his lips, man landing upon the blade. Hey, looks like you brought Tazuna right to me, thank you. I guess the demon brothers couldn't take care of you like I thought. No matter, I'll just get a bigger cut from the bounty. Kakashi glares up at him. Zabuza, the demon from the hidden mist. A high-ranked missing nin from Kiri. This will be trickier to deal with while protecting Tazuna and my team too. He pulls down his mask revealing his Sharingan. Zabuza's eyes gleam with delight. Ah, it seems you know one of my many nicknames too, Kakashi of the Sharingan. I'm honored you'll be using that eye of yours against me. But first, there's two matters to deal with. His gaze switches to Hinata. You got a Byakugan user in your little group, huh? I should deal with her first then to keep you from tracking me. Perhaps I can sell those eyes of hers to the highest bidder on the black markets once I'm done here. He draws up a hand then, moves dead center into their formation. Don't run, you must fight. Her heart beats frantically, crackles lightning into her hands in preparation. His blade rushes in for her chest, clashes against Kakashi's. Kakashi flicks out a second kunai, drives it into his chest only for it to spray out a blast of water, Zabuza's body melting away. A water clone. Kakashi frowns. Quite fast on your feet, but not for long. A voice muses behind him. The real Zabuza. He slashes at Kakashi's throat only for his body to burst into splashes of water too. Guess that's to be expected from the copy ninja. Zabuza growls, twists his body as the original closes in on him. Kakashi stops his coming kunai, Zabuza calm all the same. This close he can trap him for good until he drowns, rises up waves from the surrounding sea. Water prison. A sphere of water forms around Kakashi's body, Zabuza chuckling. Don't worry, I'll make sure it's a quick death for your students. Tazuna on the other hand, I'll deal with him nice and slow for how much of a pain in the ass he's been as of late. Naruto breaks out of the formation at his words. Enough. I'll overwhelm him. Shadow clones pop up in from every direction surrounding the docks. Get away from Kakashi-sensei. They bellow in unison, ignoring Kakashi's command to stay back. Zabuza moves up his free hand. Water release. Water dragon bullet. The torrent of water instantly crashes against the first set of clones, the remaining one's attacks all parried by Zabuza's water clone. Hinata eyes the environment, gaze moving to Sasuke quietly. Lightning crinkles through her fingertips at ready. Sasuke's brows instantly furrow, understanding what she wants to do. You could hurt Kakashi-sensei or even all of us in the process of doing that. He warns tightly. Hinata purses her lips, stomps down the urge to argue she can channel this electricity properly. He's been the one to take action first as of late, no matter the assignment. It's not just Naruto who feels that Sasuke looks at them both as dead weight, annoyances keeping him down. I won't. It's better we be of use to him than watch him suffocate in front of us. Zabuza isn't going to suspect an attack from me. His gaze goes back to Naruto as he tosses a Fuma shuriken in their direction. Sasuke catches it, tosses the blade right past Zabuza's water clone, straight on for the original. You really think I can't handle catching a weapon? Zabuza taunts until he notes the second shuriken in the blade's shadow. Hinata steps forward, concentrates on a jagged trail of water that leads to the duo. She ignores the swish of her heartbeat rumbling in her ears, Sasuke's uncertainty. She is up to this. That will be my current. Lightning release, trellis web. Electricity crackles and races forward for Zabuza, his gaze still on Naruto as he reveals himself behind him. No escaping this one. Metal glints through the haze, whizzing for him. He hears the sharp crinkle of electricity coming too, that Hyuga daring to try and electrocute him. It's that boy's blade or the girl's lightning. He looks back over to Hinata and Sasuke properly, forced to break his hold, sidestepping the lightning and kunai, swerves the current's path with a rush of water towards the sea. Too slow, girly. You kids should have run away when you had the chance. Zabuza sneers, dark eyes boring on Hinata. Kakashi wastes no time getting between them, vortexes of water clashing. Zabuza topples down from the crush of water, catches his breath. How did he know my next move? How can I attack if he already is one step ahead? Kakashi holds his neck in a vice grip, other hand ready to plunge a kunai into his heart. A spray of needles rains down from their left, Kakashi leaping back as a masked figure comes in. Sorry for the interruption, but this is my target. Zabuza's figure completely slumps down, Kakashi still checking his carotid and brachial pulse to be sure before he can slip away. Nothing. It seems there's more Kurigakure shinobi roaming about than I first assumed. Makes sense that their village would send out assassins for a missing nin, especially one as well known as Zabuza. He notes. The masked figure picks up Zabuza's body, disappears just as fast as he arrived. Naruto blinks in surprise. That guy didn't even look that much older than us. And yet he took out Zabuza as if he were a fly, an annoyance to Kiri now eliminated. Kakashi rubs at his face, exhaustion seeping in. He hasn't used his Sharingan for such a long period of time in a while, focusing back on Tazuna and his squad. Hinata studies the spot where Zabuza's corpse was before looking back at him, questioning in her features despite him having checked Zabuza's pulse in 2 spots. There are other discrepancies too he knows he'll need to dwell on more later once rested. The assassin took Zabuza's body when he should have just cut the head off like normal protocol for an assignment like that, burned the rest of his body away. Hinata takes a step closer to him, wrings her hands at her sides. Is he really dead? Kakashi doesn't answer and Hinata sighs, shoulders dropping. Oh, you don't know for sure. She murmurs icily under her breath for only him to hear. Tazuna's house Team 7, Hinata, and Naruto. You guys were stupid to come here, all of you are too weak to take down Gato or any of his men. Inari snorts after a single glance at them all. Why did Grandpa think some lowly genin would be enough for him to finish the bridge with the others? Tazuna matches his ire with a rising scowl, but it's his daughter that gets to him first. Tsunami pulls Inari back roughly by the arm, swats at the back of his head forcing him into a bow. Inari, there's no need to be so rude to our guests. I'm so sorry, ever since Kaiza passed away. Inari wiggles out of her hold before she can finish her scolding, stomps upstairs out of sight. Kakashi eyes Naruto who watches Inari leave with thinly veiled disdain. Sasuke's features the same studying the tatami mats. Everyone here is afraid of that guy's name. He muses. He burrows his hands into his pockets, Naruto at least not shouting after him as they move to take a seat. Hinata smiles pleasantly, unbothered by Inari's comment. Her stare doesn't even follow after him, pretending for now he isn't even here. Thank you for having us. She bows, Tsunami waving away her politeness. No, thank you for coming. I know my father went through quite the ordeal just to sneak out to Konoha and come back safe and sound. You all must be tired, please get some rest while I get started on a late lunch, early dinner. Hinata patters after her instead to the kitchen, points to the mix of spices she's set out. Can I help you with anything? It looks like you're making curry. Tsunami smiles gently, nods at her guess before shaking her head. No need. You should get some sleep or relax with your teammates. Hinata beams then. I'm not so exhausted I can't be of help considering we'll be using your utilities and taking up some space in your home over the next few days. Her gaze turns to the bits of salt, pepper, rice, and pork she's set out. She's probably had to make these ingredients stretch for days. It must vary day to day how much vegetables and meats reach the people or even get shipped in here under Gato's reign. Hinata notes. The carrots and onions are small, pale in color to what she's used to seeing back home. While Tsunami gets started on the broth, she gets to chopping and seasoning. She feels Naruto's stare on her silently, bemused grin, and it feels like the early days of when she'd enter his apartment to have dinners or help him clean up. Come help me. Don't just stare. If you pack too much, you'll hurt your back. Hinata relates, hovers over a mix of his jackets and t-shirts. All this laundry is supposed to be a two-person effort, especially for Naruto to fold his own underwear. Naruto blinks, looks around before realizing she means him. He scoots in beside her, grabs at her hand to help her fold a blanket that was once marred with smudge the color of mud. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll follow your lead, you know. Hinata lightly smacks at his hand, points to a pile on her left of blue and white shirts, colorful print underwear, and his favorite orange jacket on top. I meant your boxers, silly. Good hygiene is part of being a shinobi too, so that you don't pick up any illnesses when on assignment. Naruto chuckles, doesn't immediately let go of her hand. Oh, those. Well, aren't we gonna one day be a family? Won't it be normal to see each other's underwear then? Hinata stops midfold, face burning pink. What? How fast are you planning to move things between us? We should wait until we're Chunin, no Jonin level first. Puzzlement washes over him before he's reminded of Kakashi-sensei's love for that Paradise series of novels that even old man Tyuki says he's too young to read. He grins again. Alright, when we're a bit older then. The tips of Hinata's ears start to burn, focuses on her chopping to be precise and even. Sasuke nudges Naruto in his side. Even after knowing all the things Hinata's done just to get on this team, you're still interested in her. Naruto's eyes turned stormy at the question, cerulean tinging with scarlet before sighing. Not like you'd understand with how much girls are always falling over themselves with how cool and hot you apparently are. It's nice to be wanted by Hinata, looked at that way too for once. Plus she's helped me get better at cooking and doing laundry. I'm not even being loud like you assumed I would be. Sasuke snorts, though he's actually made some good points. I never cared about all that attention, moron. And none of those fangirls went to the lengths Hinata did just to be on the same team as you. Remember that if her feelings ever start to shift or change. But absently, Naruto's stare has already gravitated back to Hinata. When he speaks again there's a roughness to his voice that reminds Sasuke of gravel, shoulders tensing at a tone that isn't Naruto's. I don't care what she's done, I don't want to let go of her. Hinata and Inari's room. Inari. I saved some curry for you. His body is hunched up by his window from what she can see, half covered in shadow away from the rare bout of sunshine. I'm not hungry, just go away. He grumbles. Hinata pulls open his door just slightly, lets the aroma of the meal slide into his room like a river. Inari turns away from the entrance even as his stomach rumbles loud, gaze instead on clouds building on the seas to the west, lighting flashing white in a ripple of craggy streaks. I'm going to come in, we should talk. He reminds her so much of Hanabi from the way he wrinkles his nose, same stubbornness, same quick hide of tears from others. Hinata steps properly into his room and Inari instantly stands, frustration boiling over. I didn't say you could. Get out. Hinata pierces at his legs in response as he races forward to try and push her back out, paralyzing him. He topples down like a puppet, Hinata joining him on the floor. She moves the plate forward. Eat. Your mother and I worked hard on that with what little rations everyone gets around here. Your hands and arms still work, I want you to be able to keep up your strength in case anything happens in these next coming days. Inari reluctantly does as she wants at the hint of warning in her tone, shoulders dropping. Hinata's gaze roams around his room once she sees he's taken a few bites, stare lingering on the picture on his dresser. The middle part is torn away, whoever was standing beside him and Tsunami ripped out of the family photo. Inari follows her stare, eyes hazing over. That's what happens to people that try and go against Gato or one of his men. Hinata peers back to him. Was that Kaiza in that photo? Tears prick at his eyes before he hurriedly wipes them away, shifts his chopsticks around his bowl. Yes, he was my dad and mentor. He taught me about so many things like fishing, how to start a fire, and make a tent. Hey, really anything using my hands to help myself and others. He never let Gato bully him. Inari trails off. Hinata nods at his warbled voice, pats at his cheek. Her stomach roils, wishing her own family invested such interest in her outside of mastering use of the Byakugan, pushing her to fight harder in each of her sparring sessions, be it with father, Hanabi, or Neji. Your grandfather risked his life coming to Konoha for help, so we will soon find a way to put an end to Gato's reign over Wave. I'm sure both he and Kaiza don't want you to live out the rest of your childhood or even into your adulthood fearing him or any of his associates. Inari studies her calm expression, teeth grinding together. How can she be so relaxed about this? Either that, or Hinata is masking her fear better than he can hide his own. Hinata leans forward, voice light. Describe Gato's company. Who are his main bodyguards that are typically always near him no matter the time of day? It's best they pinpoint on who will create the domino effect, stir chaos amid the rest of his guards. Inari fidgets, hands coiling. It's these two samurai. I think their names are Zori and Waraji. One is really tall with an eye patch and like these swirly black tattoos across his arm and chest. The other always wears a blue jacket, has these line marks beneath his eyes. Hinata nods, commits their names and features to memory to discuss with Naruto, Sasuke, and Kakashi-sensei later. I'm going to see if it's okay with Kakashi-sensei to set some traps down around the house by your bedroom and your mother's. You and Tsunami shouldn't leave this house now unless accompanied by one of us. Inari watches as Hinata gets back up, clamors to find his voice. Wait, you don't know what these guys are capable of. Even Dad couldn't. He stops himself at Hinata's cutting stare. Yes, he died. And you will too unless you and the rest of Wave's citizens fight back, fight dirty if need be. Inari freezes up and Hinata bites her lip. Sorry. That was too much, but my words ring true. She whispers before twisting away. Inari moves to give follow, but his body stays rooted in place, heaviness gathering in his eyes. Hinata goes down the stairs two at a time. Kakashi is probably wondering where she wandered off to, been keeping an eye on her the most compared to her teammates. Zori and Waraji. We'll have to kill those two first. And really anyone who threatens her or Naruto's lives. Team 7 Northwest Forests, Land of Wave. While we have the free time, I want you all to practice and build on your chakra control. Kakashi instructs. It's clear enough out, sun breaking through the morning fog across the grassland in honey yellows. They watch in unison as he raises up a hand, concentrates chakra to his feet before climbing sideways up the tree with ease. Hinata swallows, memories flitting about. Father's blank stare, the elder's mocking whispers. Surely you can put more energy into your gentle fist than that, Hinata. Look, you've barely made an indent in that tree. Harada instructs. Higoroshi and Jiro shake their heads beside him, done with her. She focuses chakra back to the tips of her fingers, tries to tune out their laughter. Hiyashi raises a hand to silence a wave of snickers, approaches up to Hinata. He lowers his head to be right by her ear, anger barely restrained. You will do this again and again until you get it right. Stop showing weakness. Hinata forces herself to focus. Do we have to do this in front of each other? The goal is to reach the top of these trees before the week's end. Focus on not using too much or too little chakra to climb up. Kakashi reviews. Naruto and Sasuke move right ahead of her, Naruto instantly plummeting back to earth while Sasuke manages to get to the second branch. Just going to watch them, or are you going to participate too? Kakashi asks beside her, jolting. Her. Hinata blows out a breath, grins lightly. Controlling my nerves first, then I'll get going. His visible eye crinkles as her eyes flicker between Naruto and Sasuke. What did you and Inari talk about earlier? Her stare roams back to him. Oh, just about Kaiza-some and the traps I put down around the house. Kakashi's expression hardens. And no mention of the sleeping pills you put in his food. Hinata hums, opalescent dimming at his scolding. I know I went against protocol not telling you first, but I'd rather he not have to bear witness to their bludgeoning. Inari's experienced enough trauma and we both know how much that can affect someone mentally. Hinata goes on at his silence. And once he wakes up, he can join his grandfather, mother, and other civilians in taking back his village. Kakashi considers his next words. Hiyashi isn't here to use Ryo to make this situation go away, to negotiate with Lord Third to let her still be a kunoichi despite actions like this. You know, we don't necessarily have to kill Waraji and Zori. Hinata's features further darken and he winces as her features shudder over. The cracks between them grow deeper once again, pointed. Higoroshi and Jiro's snickers and insults echo in the back of her head. Okay. But men like them don't change. She mutters tightly before walking ahead towards an open tree. She climbs up a little over halfway beyond Sasuke and Naruto over the next few hours, catches herself on a tree branch just beneath the canopies. Naruto pauses to watch her while Sasuke intently focuses on his own tree, the scratches he's made becoming harder to see in fading sunlight. Almost nightfall and I've barely made any progress. Hinata, you're good at this, you know. Teach us too. Naruto yells out to her, Hinata signaling him back with a thumbs up. A flicker of movement in the woods to the east gets her attention, focusing more chakra to her feet to climb higher for a better look. Her muscles sting from how much moving about she did earlier to cover her tracks back in the opposite forest near Tazuna's home, footprints buried and washed away under mud and thick branches of vines and moss. Her head pulses, pushes her Byakugan on. She breathes in the scent of pine at the top, shakes out her tense muscles. It could be a spy or one of Gato's men disguised, but all she sees from her vantage point is a woman crouched beside a basket of herbs, pink kimono, long hair dark as the night sky. She doesn't look like any of the civilians Tazuna introduced them to around the markets or village square yesterday, many of them dressed in tatters or grimy clothes that barely covered their skeletal figures. Hinata follows her line of sight to the trio below, chest tightening. Who is she? And who is she looking at? Sasuke? Kakashi-sensei? Or Naruto? None of them seem to have detected her presence yet. Her nails form crescents in her hand at the latter thought until she nearly breaks the skin at her palms. The mystery woman gets to a standing position, turning to go, peers up in her direction abruptly. Smiles. Waves. Goosebumps ignite against her skin as her heart lurches, feet sliding, bark crackling, rebalancing herself quickly. Hinata bites her lip until she tastes blood. She knew all along I was watching her. Thank for listening. Do hope you enjoy. If you guy enjoyed, if you want a next part of this video, like, subscribe and comment down below and turn on the bell notifications, and also check out the other videos that have created and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.